Thank you for calling.
Strap in. Here we go.
But I think the development of full artificial intelligence would spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
With the rockets or whatever, but incredibly fast, almost the direction. It was too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
You said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 0, 1, 1,
1, self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, DLive, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting, and of course, 88.4 FM, Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, well, if you recall the very first show, many of you were probably not even listening way back when because nobody was listening way back when. But the very first show we had on Troubled Minds, it was called Conspiracy Query. Now, the whole point of this show, well, one of the points of this show, there are many points so late into the game here, but one of the original points as we really got going and talking about wild ideas was, of course, the most basic conspiracy, most basic of conspiracies, and it's government cover-ups. Okay. And not only that, it seems like there's new information coming out every day about all manner of wild things, not just, let's say, things the government has done in the past, which are horrible, horrific, all the things, covered things up. Tuskegee comes to mind, a whole bunch of really horrible things where they were like, well, we were doing it for the good of humanity. We were testing, some stuff or whatever, Operation Sea Spray. I mean, there's so many, right? Northwoods, all this stuff kind of comes to mind when I think about this, but there's a new game in town. And as you know, we've been talking about AI, large language models, and sort of how this acceleration is really the new arms race, that new Manhattan project of, the supremacy. And not just, let's say, in the old days, the Cold War was nuclear supremacy and stacking, a nuclear arsenal and additional testing after they dropped the bombs in World War II. It's a wild time to be alive. I'll say that. And so I was kind of just cruising through some stuff and looking at some ideas, and I found this. Now, this is from T. Sarnik at Terrace Thrustra. Can I say that correctly? At T. Sarnik on Twitter X. Okay. And this is incredible because, as usual, this is one of those things where you're like, nah, this is not something that could happen. And this strikes at the heart of UFOs. This strikes at the heart of 0-point energy or hidden technologies that, the government is supposedly smuggled away in some, deep DARPA warehouse somewhere, and they've got some artificial sun sort of powering whatever they need while the rest of us, are still paying our electric bills or whatever, right? It kind of goes to the heart of a conspiracy sort of like that. Now, this one goes to a more modern twist, and I'll play the clip for you because that's probably the best way to do this is to just play it straight and let you hear it. But this is again from T. Sarnik on Twitter X. Do give him a follow, doing great work, trimming all this stuff up, and actually trying to find out, the secrets of all the things as these, really high profile people are talking about these ideas. And in this clip, it's Mark Andreessen and Ben Horowitz. Okay. Now listen very carefully. They were sitting with White House staff this past year and talking about AI and what this will look like in the coming days and how they can actually, I'll just let you hear it. That's the best way, like I said. Let's play it. Here's the clip. Again, Mark Andreessen and Ben Horowitz talking about this exact thing I'm describing. Check this out.
One of the things we argued in our meeting with the White House on AI policy was, look, there are going to be issues that come from AI, but they should be regulated. The regulation should happen at the application level, not at the technology level. Yeah. And the reason for that is basically because, like, to regulate math, right, mm-hmm. at the level of the algorithms, like to regulate.
And he argued with me when I said that.
Well, yes. So Ben basically said, look, it doesn't make sense because to regulate AI at the technology level, you're regulating math, and of course we're not going to do that. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And you'll recall that what they said was, no, actually,
we can classify math.
We can classify math, and literally, this is verbatim. This is we classified whole entire areas of physics in the nuclear era and made them state secrets, like of the like theoretical
physics,
science of physics. We classified them and med them state secrets, and that research vanished. And we are absolutely capable of doing that again for AI. We will classify any area of math that we think is leading in a bad direction, and it will end.
And it will end. They'll classify whatever the hell they want and whatever direction it's heading that's problematic. It will end, okay? And again, the link is in the description if you want to check that out. But that's not the thing that got my attention. That was certainly one of the parts of this. But in the larger conversation, it means that, well, they've been doing this stuff for a long time, not just the Manhattan Project, as we said. Some really weird stuff they did with, again, Tuskegee and Sea Spray. And it's just a conspiracy after conspiracy after conspiracy of these things that have been lined up forever that really keeps this conversation going. And this is the type of stuff that fuels distrust in systems. I'm always talking about distrust in these systems because they're talking about doing stuff like this. Because it's always national security, right? It's always, keeping the order of things stable or whatever. But you get the idea. It's incredibly problematic, as stated here by one Eric Weinstein, a very brilliant theoretical physicist. And he commented on this, and this is the more important part of this, because he cut to the bone and it described exactly what the hell's going on here. Actually, I'll read this to you when we get back. It's a little bit long, and I don't want to cut it off with a commercial, but links are in the description if you want to check it out. We are taking your calls tonight if you want to be part of the conversation. We're talking about government conspiracies and hiding technology. And not just that, even classifying chunks of physics or chunks of math or whatever actual sort of scientific endeavors might become a thing in the near future. Who knows how much access we'll have to it as we, just kind of flounder around as humans trying to pay the bills, right? It's nuts. This entire thing is nuts that they think in these terms, because they can, if they want to, they can shut the internet off with the wave of a pen. Boom, the internet shut off. I mean, this is the type of stuff, that the level of control they have on society, that once again makes us not trust those institutions. Yeah, right? All the way back to the very first episode of Troubled Minds, we were talking about conspiracy query is what I called it. And it was all manner of things. Operation, like I said, Sea Spray. There was Operation Acoustic Kitty. There's so many of these other ideas that go back through history here. And these are the ones we know about. Per usual, there's always going to be the stack of ones that get out that you do know about. But then there's going to be an additional stack that you don't hear about. You just don't know anything of. And that's where this gets dicey. We'll get to some other stuff. The write-up is very good tonight if you want to check that out and read a little bit more into this and some of these other ideas. But yeah, that's what's on my mind tonight. And so I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think the level of technology is that we're actually suppressing? That's really the premise tonight. There's a whole bunch of ways we can take this. And are they really holding back something that would change humanity forever? Right now, in our hands, in our laps, we have this new, this maybe not even new, maybe an older technology. 0 point, advanced propulsion, you name it. I mean, it's like I said, it strikes at the heart of the UFO conspiracy that they've cracked some sort of advanced propulsion through even reverse engineering UFOs and then created this, I don't know what warp drive or something. Like, what have they created anyway? So that's the main question tonight. Love to hear your thoughts on this, how weird it gets, and how far this technology probably has progressed. But in the meantime, we're going to take a quick break and get a word from our sponsor. In this case, that would be Human Inspiration. Don't go anywhere. More Troubled Minds in exactly 1 minute. Be right back. More on this. And of course, I'd love to hear your thoughts as we go after a word from our sponsor.
In a world increasingly shaped by AI, Human Inspiration remains the beating heart of creativity. Alien Skin by Tremble, a hauntingly beautiful piano ballad, reminds us that while algorithms can mimic art, the raw, unfiltered emotions of human experience are irreplaceable.
So here I sit, locked in my room again.
Written and composed by Jesse Ian in collaboration with Todd Smith, this progressive masterpiece delves into the depths of internalized grief and the silent toll of artistic compromise. As AI reshapes our reality, Alien Skin stands as a testament to the timeless power of human emotion and the complex beauty that only true artists can evoke. Experience the haunting beauty of Alien Skin by Tremble and support Human Inspiration. Available now on iTunes.
Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Let us continue, shall we? Okay, so this is that post from Eric Weinstein. Okay, very smart guy and not afraid to really kind of step outside the bounds of academia. And he challenges a lot of things. He's the guy who did the the elite review on Terrence Howard, I believe is his name. You know, that whole dust up that was kind of on Joe Rogan, and you know, people got their feathers ruffled and whatnot. I mean, this is okay. This is what conversations are about, and all the rest. But listen to what he said. Anyway, Eric Weinstein at Eric R. Weinstein on Twitter X. Do give him a follow. Check this out. He said, a very interesting question is why academics almost uniformly make fun of conspiracy theories when presented by colleagues, at least. Los Alamos, Tuskegee, human terrain systems, etc., all involved conspiracy by academics. Some were good, some were bad, some ambiguous. But isn't it odd that conspiracies are a permanent part of human existence? Yet, trying to study them or theorize about them results in crippling professional penalties. I'm astonished that I have not heard one single physicist call P. Marca, that's going to be Mark Andreessen, a liar for claiming the Biden White House revealed that entire public subfields of theoretical physics were taken offline by the government for security reasons and disappeared or went dark. Nor have I heard, quote, we have to look into this. Nor have I heard, wow, that is super interesting. Just silence, he says. But what I have heard is academics finding it laughable that others find this as interesting. The Mark Andreessen claim about physics is thus one of the most anti-interesting claims I have ever heard. Everyone in physics just seems to intuitively know not to ask about it. He says, has anyone seen Michio Kaku, Neil deGrasse Tyson, what's this guy's name, Brian Greene, etc., commenting on this particular claim? He says, they all just know. Don't go there, girlfriend. Nice. But okay, so you get the idea. It is an electric fence issue. And so why? So as we layer these ideas tonight, number one, the first question is, how deep do you think this actual technology goes that we don't have access to, but they do? Clearly, World War II, the Manhattan Project was kept under wraps, even chunks of science. Okay, for obvious reasons. We don't want everybody building a nuke in their garage. Okay? However, that era has come and gone. That Cold War is over. Nukes are still a very real threat to the world. However, I think the fear of somebody building a nuclear weapon in their garage is probably a little far-fetched at this point. I mean, you know, we've all seen what do you call it? What was it? Back to the Future. Remember they made the joke about, well, I'm sure you can buy plutonium on every corner store in, 1985, or 1984, but, back in 1955, it's a little hard to come by. So that's the idea, right? You still can't go buy plutonium wherever you want, right? So that's very highly regulated, kept behind locked doors, all the stuff, okay? But you get the idea. So how crazy does it get? And how come this is one of those things that is, as he describes in this, something that results in crippling professional penalties? Just bringing this up again. Look, I'm a filthy conspiracy theorist. Just because I'm like, wait a minute now, what are we missing about the larger conversation? What are we missing? Where are the blind spots in society? And what does this look like when we talk to each other about it? And look, some people fully and completely believe, and I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying that to the ends of this, some people fully and completely believe that there's time travel technology that the government has, okay? Or the Vatican has, or whatever. Like I said, I'm not making judgments on that. I'm saying that there is all manner of ideas and how far this technology stretch and obfuscation of science and discovery actually goes. Some people believe we've got teleportation technology. Some people believe that we have 0-point energy, or we've mastered fusion, and we have the artificial sun somewhere in the, powering the DARPA basement. Like I said, I mean, all of this stuff is incredible to think about. However, as usual, it starts to get a little sticky when you consider that we know a lot of this is true. Okay. And of course, let me just read from the article here instead of rambling on about it. But like I said, the write-up is very good if you're into this conspiracy tinfoil hat type stuff. But the main question is, how much of this are they hiding from us? Does it go as deep as like Stargates and teleportation and all manner of weird stuff? Or is it just simply a little dialed back than that? I don't know. Like, as usual, you guys tell me. But anyway, so the government has a long and well-documented history of classifying scientific research. Duh, right? Particularly during times of conflict, under the justification of national security. Like UFOs, right? During World War II, vast efforts like the Manhattan Project operated in total secrecy, drawing some of the brightest scientific minds into covert research that would alter the course of history. We all know this tale. That secrecy didn't end with the war. It evolved, adapted, and expanded into other disciplines like aerospace, communications, and increasingly, artificial intelligence, as I'm describing. Today, echoes of this historical precedent are resurfacing in unusual places. As I played that clip, according to tech investors Mark Andreessen and Ben Horowitz, White House officials have recently discussed classifying certain mathematical developments related to AI. That's right, classifying actual math. Weird, right? This aligns with the way early 20th century physics was once sealed away behind layers of governmental and military clearance. In that era, physics was the strategic frontier. Now, it's math. Specifically, the kind of math that drives machine learning, cryptographic systems, and potentially autonomous decision-making, as we've talked about quite a lot on this show. And of course, this isn't without precedent. After the death of, and this is the one that makes the conspiracy tinfoil hats tingle, mine included. We've talked about this quite a lot in the past. After the death of Nikola Tesla in 1943, the U.S. government seized his papers and personal effects under the directive of the Office of Alien Property Custodian. Some of his ideas, like directed energy weapons and wireless power transmission, were so ahead of their time that they bordered on science fiction. While the FBI later declassified many of these documents, others remain mysteriously absent, leading some to speculate that key technologies were buried for reasons of national advantage. Take, for instance, as I described, zero-point energy. Some people believe this is a real thing, and it's been cracked, and it's run in some system somewhere, and we just don't have it. They're just not sharing, okay? And how deep does that conspiracy go? Like I said, that's really the question tonight. But theoretical frameworks exist within quantum field theory for energy fluctuations in a vacuum, this zero-point energy. But these ideas remain trapped in speculative physics, often dismissed or ignored by mainstream academia. Still, whispers persist that the military-industrial complex has pursued these leads in classified settings. Books like The Hunt for Zero Point chronicle these ideas not as confirmed facts, but as breadcrumbs pointing towards suppressed lines of inquiry that could render our current energy systems obsolete. Now, for me, okay, I've said this a lot in the past too. I have a hard time believing that we have a captured spacecraft that's been reverse engineered. Okay. I have a hard time believing that. Does that mean I'm right? Of course not. It just really comes to the core of the question of how much trust we have in these systems. And as you know me, as I've always said, I've got a tinfoil hat that tingles when I sense something is off. Sort of my spider sense is tingling. And when people talk about, the alien reproduction vehicle, the ARV, okay, I go, well, I don't know. It's different. It's hard. It's hard for me to put it all together. Is this our craft? Are the things we're seeing or have been seeing for the last 50 years or 70 years really something we've cracked the code of, sort of Roswell-esque? I don't know. As we talk about on this show, like I can see lots of ways about it, including, of course, our sort of psychic intuition or premonitions or, pop out topoids or stuff like this. Maybe human resident energy manifesting as something as stress or trauma. Well, we've talked about a lot of ideas here, or, kind of something that's cooked into the earth, those primordial nature spirits. Lots of ways for me to look at this. Okay. And so when people are so locked into one particular space, I have a hard time because I like to think in possibilities. I like to think in that, 10 or 12 or 15 different ways if possible, because who knows what's really being hidden behind like the closed doors of DARPA. Okay. But anyway, in this case, right? So there's a consistent pattern as part of this larger conversation. The technologies most likely to redistribute power, whether through limitless energy, off-world propulsion, or machine cognition, are often the most aggressively classified. In open science, the presence of peer review and reproducibility guides credibility. In military science, plausible deniability and compartmentalization dominate, as we've talked about often on the show. And when a discovery walks the line between revolutionary and destabilizing, it tends to vanish into black budgets and unacknowledged projects. All right, I'll leave it there for a second, and we'll get back to this a little later. But you get what I'm talking about. So back to this. Where we started tonight, Again, so Mark Andreessen and Ben Horowitz say that when they met White House officials to discuss AI, the officials said they could classify any area of math they think is leading in a bad direction to make sure it is a state secret, and it will end. Weird, right? This is fine. This is fine. And that's the thing that really draws into the space of a conspiracy theory, the heart of it. Okay? We know it's been done in the past. We know they're talking about doing it now. So what about from now till then? All that stuff in the middle that we're supposed to just go, I guess everything's fine. You know me. I don't like to say everything's fine. I like to go, well, how come this or how come that? And that's the question tonight. How weird does this get? Are we actually driving around advanced propulsion vehicles, reverse engineered from Roswell or elsewhere? Do we have unlimited 0-point energy in some capacity that's firing up Conquered fusion with that fake sun that I'm talking about, the mini sun somewhere in DARPA's basement? Is that real? They're talking about China doing it and actually almost on the edge of having that be a persistent thing, which is incredible. But if this is the case and new science is bringing us right up to that edge, how long has this been in play? And that's what's on my mind tonight. And again, it's a little chilling that officials at the White House can just simply say, we'll just classify any area of math that's problematic to us. That's science. That belongs to humanity. That belongs to the future. And of course, they're standing on the shoulders of giants even to get to that point. So yeah, does it piss me off? You bet your bippy, as I like to say. And this is incredibly problematic. But how deep does that rabbit hole go? Like I said, advanced propulsion is one thing, 0-point energy quite another. We've heard space lasers and all manner of wild ideas. You think there's some actual real paradigm-changing information that's being hidden away, like Nikola Tesla's free energy? You think this is a thing? We'll get to more of this. I got a ton of ideas listed as part of these technologies, these possible, probable, maybe-ish technologies. But does it bother you that suddenly this new information is coming out and they're like, oh, we'll just kind of classify science to make sure this is cool? Because let me tell you what, it bothers me. Because as I described, science belongs to our future. Science doesn't belong to some national security state that will release things whenever it deems necessary. And if necessary is never, then what? That's what's on my mind tonight. Hope you guys are all right and doing well. And I'm trying not to raise my voice and slam my fist, but that's what's happening. If you want to be a part of the conversation tonight, we're taking your calls at 702-957-1037. You can click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. It's as easy as that. We got Matthew in Colorado coming up and Shane the Blind Psychonaut and your calls as well. Don't go anywhere. More Troubled Minds on the way. Be right back.
In a world of secrets where shadows play, I'm hiding the truth behind locked doors today. Whispers of circuits in the night airflow, advanced tech shielded, only the brave know. Classified stories wrapped in silver screens, innovation dancing in the space between beams. Behind closed curtains, the future's design. Electric dreams pulse, never far behind. We're breaking the silence, can't hold us down. With every heartbeat, reclaiming our crown. Galactic visions in a binary trance. The code unfolds, giving fate a chance. We're pushing the limits, vast horizons await. Hidden connections that will celebrate. In the echo of progress, we rise with pride. Guardians of knowledge, we will not hide. Behind closed curtains, the future's design. Electric trees pulse, never far behind. We're breaking the silence, can't hold us down. With every heartbeat, reclaiming our crown. Secrets unravel, the shadows disperse. In this electric wave, we find our verse. Together we stand, leveling the game. With tech as our ally, nothing's the same. Behind closed curtains, the future's design. Electric dreams pulse, never far behind. We're breaking the silence, can't hold us down. With every heartbeat, reclaiming our crown.
On the machines, we find our chance, guarded intentions in a digital dance. Unlocking the code with our keys held tight. In the secret society, we light up the night.
Behind closed curtains, the future's design. Electric dreams pulse, never far behind. We're breaking the silence, can't hold us down. With every heartbeat, reclaiming our crown.
Indeed. What's up, guys? I think Shane was, so we'll go Shane was first. He beat Matco by just a little bit. So Shane will be first and then Matco. What's up, Ricky, Matt, Sal, APOC, how you doing, Jorge? Sweets, Gaston, Molly, Joey, Jeff, and Wisco, Hirsch. We got the Robert and Dawn. I see you guys. Hope you're well tonight. Who did we miss over on YouTube? Hello, good evening, good evening. Where's the chat? Where's there no chat? Mr. Mission Control, how you doing? My chat hasn't populated. Something's weird there. I'll double check back in a second. What's up, Lurker Emoji? What's up, North Vixen? How you doing? What's up, Gordo, Puff? I see you guys. Shycom, good evening. Hope you're well tonight. Theo, what's happening? We got Hiker Emoji and Lurker Emoji. Somebody trolling somebody. What is up? What is up? Good evening, good evening. If I missed you, just say hi. I'll say hi back. And Gordo got first over there on Rumble, and of course, Mr. Mission Control, I believe, got first on YouTube. Hope you're well tonight. Just talking wild ideas, and how deep does it get? How much are they hiding? And does this piss you off that you can actually classify science in the name of national security? Here we go. Troubled Minds happening now. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, D-Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM, Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, could free energy, anti-gravity, and consciousness-based technology already exist? Hidden behind decades of strategic silence and psychological misdirection. If so, what kind of world has been stolen from us without our knowing? And that's what's weighing heavy on my mind tonight with this conversation of the White House just simply stating, well, if it's problematic math, we'll just classify it. Really? Seriously? I mean, I get it. Okay, we're in that, as I described, that AI race that kind of echoes the Cold War of nukes back in the day. However, just wiping out science like that, like I said, sticks in my craw the wrong way, and I absolutely do not like it. As usual, I wish we were past these sort of geopolitical nonsense games, but well, we're not, and I don't call the shots. I wish I did, but I don't. I would be the best king of all the world. I promise. No, just kidding. You don't want me anywhere near that. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. How weird does it get, and how crazy is it that they're actually describing censoring science? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show just like this. Shane in Arizona. What's up, brother? You're on Troubled Minds. How are you? Go right ahead.
Howdy.
Good evening.
You can hear me, right? Yeah.
Loud and clear. You sound great.
Beautiful. And Discord's working tonight. I don't know if you checked it like you said you were going to, but no echo on this end, so hopefully it's sounding good.
Thank you for that. Sounding good. We had some friends pop in yesterday. Shout out Joey. It came in early and helped me get it all fixed, and so everything's working perfectly as far as I'm aware. The Discord and the phone line, so everything's up and running. Welcome to the joint. What's on your mind? Go ahead, my man.
Well, unfortunately, a I'll start off with what you were saying is like basically hide science or math is funny. Well, not funny, but weird. Like you always talk about synchronicities and whatnot. And just a few weeks ago, and I was talking with my dad because he still is after 45 years a electrical engineer for Raytheon, and he's been on multiple programs stemming from Tomahawk to ACM, which was a nuclear ICBM, and a bunch of other programs. And I was just kind of asking him because he for the ACM, the nuclear missile, he has like this little statue at his house that I remember as a kid looking at, and which was weird because like the fins on it for the aerodynamics is like upside down. But anyways, I asked him about that, like why the fin, you would think the fin, one of the fins would be like on top of the missile, if that makes sense, as it's flying. But the top fin is on the bottom. And then I asked him about because it's a very weird color. And he was telling me like that kind of stuff is classified, like why would they put the fin on the bottom, or the actual color and like the mixture of the paint is classified. And even I remember asking him about like how fast and how far can certain missiles he's worked on go, and he's like, well, that's classified. Like you can guess. I think he's called it like an engineer's guess is not classified, but the actual way to get to like the actual answer is classified, which is kind of banana. Like I understand it, but it's still weird. But a lot of those classified weapons or technology, say if like they have some for propulsion, like that major technology would be classified, but it's also under an umbrella. So anything that can be made from that tech is also classified, and that can stem from like medical to day-to-day stuff, which I'm right there with you. It pisses me off. It's like they're gatekeepers, so, but yeah, it's very irritating with that on that aspect. Yeah, hopefully that made some sense.
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense. And so, but not only gatekeepers, there are gatekeepers behind the black curtain. And so the oversight as part of it, the necessary declassification process, which should happen naturally as part of the thing. But they seem like they're so kind of geeked into the idea of classified stuff that they don't want to really give away their hand on anything. And it's fighting tooth and nail through FOIAs and through all manner of things to get anything out of the government. And look, we've seen it recently with, we were told, they're releasing the Epstein files. And then what they do, they released exactly the same stuff that was already there. And now they're like, okay, now we're still waiting. Right, we were told the JFK stuff. They brought out some of that, and there's some new revelations as part of it, implicating the government. And then we're still waiting on the UFO files, which they were supposed to, by the way, have a hearing next week, I believe, which they entirely canceled after that Lou Elizondo debacle, where he held up the picture of the irrigation circles and said it was some sort of UFO from a pilot or whatever. I mean, this is the type of stuff we're dealing with that's maddening, because we're told transparency is nigh. It's upon us. They have these committees and all this stuff. And like I've always said, if you need a committee to give us transparency, you're doing it wrong. Just release the stuff. We'll read it ourselves, and then we'll talk about it amongst ourselves, as adults should, as adults in this society should. And yeah, it's a little bit infuriating, as you described. And yeah, you tell me. But how weird does it get? You think there is, let's say, I don't know, spacecraft that's beyond our capabilities, meaning that advanced propulsion that people are flying. You think it's that real? How deep does this go? In Shane's actual worldview, how weird does this get? Because I think there's going to be a level of weird here that everybody's kind of comfortable putting their toes into that ocean. But there's a lot of people that would just say 0 point, advanced propulsion, consciousness tech. We know that we're, greater than ourselves, and we're attuned to the universe and can communicate with the old ones or whatever. I mean, you tell me, how weird is it for Shane?
I actually believe it's pretty weird. But from like the classification levels of it, I know one of like the top ones is a need to know. Like it's exactly what you it sounds like, need to know. And that goes full to like to all the way up to the top to the bottom. So if you like literally if you don't need to know, you don't need to know. And like you're talking about the Manhattan Project, and I think there was like 500,000 something like that people working, and no one like knew what they were working on. Like they would have one guy work on bolts, the next guy work on like like sheet metal or whatever, and they lived in like a community all the way to like the Pentagon. So the compartment to I can't say the right word, but you know what I'm talking about. The compartmentalizing aspect of it is completely true, and I just know that from my father, and the weirdness of it is it's kind of, you think about it, anyone that has come out with talking about anti-grav or a different type of propulsion or free energy somehow end up dead, like before they should be. Yeah, Tesla, he was getting old, but still, I mean, weird, right? Like I think his major illness was OCD, and I've never heard of really anyone dying from that. I mean, not saying it hasn't happened, but still weird. And then all his work was gone, and like they were like waiting for him in the wings, like, oh, he's dead, let's go, and like I read, don't know how true it is, but with his death ray that he proposed to the United States and tried to sell like the plans and his tech about it, they denied it. But I read that actually he sold that stuff to Russia. Now I don't know how true that is. Again, it's the internet, but I don't know if you've heard of him selling like some of his tech to other countries. Have you heard that?
Nikola Tesla?
Yeah.
No, I've never heard that. That sounds like, again, I don't know, but to me it sounds like a propaganda story, so they can say, oh, it was stolen before we could get the good stuff. They gave the good stuff to Russia or whatever. You know what I mean? That seems that way to me. But who really knows? Because apparently the story we get is he died penniless, living in that hotel or whatever with his pet pigeons or something. And so he's a peculiar character in history, of course, but he had a lot of wild claims of things that he had cracked. And one of those stories, by the way, is about that death ray, is that he was supposedly, and this could be one of those anecdotes that may or may not be true, of course, because who really knows after the mythology itself is kind of rolled out into the temporal zeitgeist, but that he was sort of sitting on the formula for the death ray, and he was using it to barter for, time to stay in that hotel. Cause I don't know if you guys know that he spent like a huge chunk of his life in a hotel because he was just a weird, quirky dude, but it's expensive to live in a hotel. So he was sort of bartering with the ability to buy his death ray formula, which maybe never saw the light of day. And so some people suggest that maybe it didn't even exist at all. But anyway, that's my point, is that maybe some of these stories have been quite a bit embellished over time, because who really knows, as usual, right?
Well, yeah, and I know when he was working on the energy stuff that he was backed by J.P. Morgan, and when he brought his for the I can't remember where he was in Colorado, but that place, or no, it wasn't Colorado, I think, wherever it was, Rhode Island or whatever. But JP Morgan was like, can you put a meter on it? So a lot of this stuff is driven by money, which is, I understand everything now and even then was driven by money, but still, like things like that. free energy, medicine. I don't think have a right to put a price tag on it. I think it's for everyone on this planet to benefit from, and even other people who have done like propulsion stuff and started, coming out and saying, oh, I got this or that, end up dead. Or I recently read a thing about one of the people that invented the car that ran on water. And I think he was starting to do videos or whatnot. And again, ended up dead. So there's an aspect of money, and then I think it's a very weak excuse is our enemies or other nations could get a hold of it. You don't think they're working on it too?
Yeah, of course they are. They probably stolen it. They probably have spies here that have stolen it and smuggled it back. I mean, it's an interesting idea too. The idea of intellectual property. Like maybe it made sense in 1960. I'm not sure it makes sense in 2025. Look at China. They're just stealing everything wholesale and just replicating everything we do without any of that stuff. They don't have any of those barriers, and those barriers for us in the modern time in 2025 are actually holding us back. And that's a massive problem because suddenly you can't touch somebody's, patent or whatever till you pay them. And imagine if that, let's not say everything, but let's say the vast majority of things were open sourced, how incredible we could become with that acceleration and the technology, these AI systems I'm always talking about. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the AI, the IP, I think that is just like a ridiculous claim. And we know that China itself, I mean, they steal everything from us, like the newest jet, like the one that got lost, was it last year? And the military went on X and was like, hey, if anybody's seen this jet, please let us know. Like, that's wild on its own, but that jet China has, and it's like a mirror image of it. And we know that they stole a lot from us, and or spying or whatever you want to call it. So I think it obviously is a purposeful decision, and the people that have the power to halt us like this. And also, which I find is kind of weird, the Orange Man in a few recent speeches, he keeps like saying like we have this beautiful, amazing technology weapons that you don't even know, you don't even understand. Like he keeps hinting to stuff like that. And I know from the first term he didn't really do that, and other presidents that I can't remember do that. So why, like, what's happening? And like they had the drop of, we have technology that can manipulate time and space, but they didn't really get into anything else. So they're dropping these hints, which is it, a nothing burger, or is there something behind it? I have no clue. But as weird as it gets, I do think we have an aspect of like anti-grav, because there are patents that go back in, the early 1900s, 1910s, 1920s of that stuff. I know patents doesn't mean like the tech is actually viable, but it's someone that bought it up and supposedly was able to have it, work. So I don't know. It's interesting. It's frustrating, and I know like on the some of the tech, like the everyone now has been talking about, Tues, direct energy weapons. I remember back in, I want to say like around 97, 98, my dad came home and started telling me about this weapon that Raytheon was working on at the time. And it wasn't in like the zeitgeist or anything, but it, and then a few years later, like in 04, 05, all over the news, they started talking about this exact energy weapon, and it's called the ADS, the active denial system. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but it's like this frequency slash beam, like X-ray type stuff that they hit. It's like crowd control, right? And they hit this beam on people, and one, it's non-lethal, but it penetrates multiple layers of the skin and like makes you like feel like your nerve endings are burning, like your whole body's burning. But once the beam gets off of you, it stops. And I remember in the news, like on CNN or whatever, they had like a couple senators that they were like blasting with, and they were like crying. It was pretty funny. But my dad was talking about that, before it came to everyone else's. We're told about it, 5, almost 10 years before that, and even as not as cool as like weapons or other stuff like that. But I remember when I was in like 4th grade, was about 93 or so, we got DSL. I know I told you about this, the upgraded internet. And I remember my dad, we bought it, and I remember him like started yelling and all upset. And I was like, "What's going on?" Because my dad's real cool, calm, and he's like, I've had this crap since 1980 when he started when he started working, which was GD, General Dynamics, back in San Diego. But he said he had this exact system of internet back in 1980, but everyone else, they started selling it in the mid 90s. So those technologies and the military, like I've said before, are at least 30 to 100 years ahead of us, and then they trickle it out. So
makes a ton of sense. And so you do think that maybe advanced propulsion and sort of UFOs out there might be our actual technology, I guess, is the end question there.
Yeah, I think some of it is. I don't know how much of it is, but yeah, yeah, I do think. I do think so. Because they're good at hiding things, just like the Manhattan Project. And if someone comes out and starts talking about the technology, the things they see, what happens? Like they get made fun of. They're kooks. They don't know what they're talking about. They're made to look crazy and stupid. And the advance that we went from, like, just look at 1900 to 1970. 70 years, we had some dudes walking on the moon, and then 30 years after that, we had the internet, and then now. So I know the jump of technology is very peculiar to me, especially after the last 3,500 years, where we know that it wasn't like how it is now. But I do think that's a different story, where like other civilizations been here. But I think the biggest indicator is the rate of growth that was allowed to happen. And then you think, like, after 1959, the SR-71 at that time was the fastest plane. You think that stuff like that, like, it just halted? Would they stop working on it after that? Nah, heck no. So
yeah.
So yeah, my answer is yes. I think some of it is. All of it, no.
Okay, that meaning leave the door open for some other weird otherworldly type stuff out there. And I'm with you too. Clearly, there's going to be some military technology we don't know about as of yet. They may not actually declassify this stuff for dozens of years yet. However, I'm with you in the other sense that there's going to be some other lights in the sky that are probably not ours. And what does that mean? I don't really know, but it's complicated. All this stuff is very complicated, and this is why we talk about it together, to know kind of where we draw those lines in our head, sort of in our belief systems and those reality tunnels I'm always talking about. And yeah, maybe they say that the latest thing with the Tic Tacs and those UFOs is that the new thing is, well, they're probably ours, guys. So I don't know, as usual, strap in. The future's about to get weird because we really don't know anything about any of it, even though, we're just towing the line on the official story and trying not to get arrested talking about it outside of, approved channels, I guess is what you should say, which, by the way, Troubled Minds is not an approved channel. Just so you know. Final thought, my man.
Lame.
Super lame.
Yeah, but we're on for a ride, and it's just going to get crazier. And kind of answer, what is the other lights in the sky? Come on, we all know it's either weather balloons or swamp gas.
Obviously, that's been studied. Yeah, but multiple studies suggest that most of the lights in the sky are swamp gas or Venus in the night sky. So there you go. We'll just put it to bed, guys. Nothing to worry about here. No problems whatsoever. Shane, you're the best. Appreciate you popping in here. Fire stuff as always. Appreciate you sharing your story about your family members there, and some old tech and some new tech. And thanks for being you. Always a pleasure, brother. Have a great night.
Well, thank you, and can't wait to hear the other calls. And I hope what I said made some sense.
Of course it does. Absolutely. You're right on right in the pocket tonight. Perfect stuff. Shane, the Blind Psychonaut, you know him, you love him, good friend for a long time. Please go check out his stuff. He's got a YouTube channel, troubledminds.org/friends. Once you click friends on the website, scroll down a little bit. It is alphabetical, so it'll say Shane. Go down to where it says Shane there, click his YouTube channel, go give him a follow, please. It's completely free. Smart guy, as you know, and lots of things happening. And talented guy, too. Go check out his YouTube channel. You'll be happily surprised that he's doing some AI stuff and kind of using that stuff to its the bleeding edge of AI systems to kind of make content, which is pretty cool. So tonight we're talking about, again, this weirdness. We started with this idea again. So Mark Andreessen and Ben Horowitz say that when they met White House officials to discuss AI, the officials said they could classify any area of math they think is leading in a bad direction and make it a state secret. And it will end. That's what's on my mind tonight. How weird does this get? How deep are these secrets? And how much of actual science has been censored in the name of national security over the last 100 years? That's what's on my mind tonight. I hope you guys are doing well. And this one kind of got my goat a little bit. It pisses me off. And so does this kind of get your goat? I could wave my arms and raise my voice, but that's the Michael Strange of the old way. The new way is Michael Strange trying to be more zen, but you get the point. Censoring science seems to be very anti-human. It seems to be very control mechanism-y, which I hate. And yes, I made up a word there. And this is why we need to talk about this. And do we demand better from the people in charge? That's what's on my mind tonight. If you want to be part of the conversation, love to hear your thoughts. 702-957-1037. You can click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Everything is working thanks to our fine friends on the Discord that helped me test it out last night. Thank you again. And what do you know? How deep is this? Do you think we have 0-point energy, advanced propulsion, some sort of consciousness technology that they're not letting us know? Love to hear what you think. One more time, 702-957-1037. Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. We got Matthew in Colorado and your calls as well. Don't go anywhere.
Symbols, whispers, and shadows. We've got maps where nobody goes. In the night under hidden glows, guardians of what no one knows. We seek the truth, nothing can hide from me. In cloaked silence we traverse the lines, through ancient scrolls in forgotten times. Voices echo in the halls of lore, guardians of the mysteries evermore. We seek the truth, nothing can hide from me.
tide. Signals bouncing off the astral plane. Invisible codes that can't be tamed. We decode the stars under the midnight veil. A stadium circles where midnight hail. In the echoes of time where the legends lay, we tread the path where shadows play. With spectral eyes we discern the truth, unraveling tales from ancient youth. We seek the truth.
Indeed. What's up, guys? Shout out to Quantum Inertia Surfer there over on X, said the 1951 Invention Secrecy Act. And that's been kind of in the zeitgeist a little bit recently as well. And very well stated, pointing that one out. I didn't have it on the docket to talk about, but I'm going to pull it up and we'll talk about it when we get back. But yeah, definitely. There's a lot here, a lot involved. And this is the type of stuff that, like I said, it could change the world. If we knew, and some of this stuff may have been released, that maybe it changes everything. And what kind of utopia are we sitting on that we're scared to release because it will disrupt all the systems and all the things? Yeah, the wild stuff. What's up? Hope you guys are well. Thank you for being patient. Matthew's coming up. We got Mattel after him. And Joey, if you want to pop back in, you're welcome. And yeah, I don't know. More questions, no answers from me. You know me. But I think the possibilities here are kind of endless, because if we've been doing this for a long time, since World War II, that's like 100 damn years. So yeah. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Who'd I miss? If I missed you, sorry about that. Just trying to keep up. Fred is here. What's up, sweets? See you, Dawn. What's up, Mr. Mission Control? I think I don't know. It's weird. Eric is here. Good evening. We got who did I miss? What's up? That's Gaston. Good evening, guys. Hello. Just say hi if I missed you, and I'll say hi. Try and keep up as we go. What's up, Ricky? I see you there. What's happening? Yeah, death rays, all kinds of stuff. It depends on how kind of deep you want to take the rabbit hole in terms of what this looks like, right? And that's exactly the point. Is I think it's probably a little bit more spooky than people would want to admit. Is it Stargate spooky? I don't know. I'd like to think so, but anyway, all right. Hope you guys are doing well tonight. Just hanging out and taking your calls, talking about wild stuff. We'll talk about the Invention Secrecy Act here in just a second. Again, shout out Quantum Inertia Surfer over there on X listening. We got Matthew in Colorado coming up, Matt's out, and your calls as well. Here we go. 10 seconds, Troubled Minds happening right about. Yeah. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, D Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting, and of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, we're talking those inventions they've hidden away. Could free energy, anti-gravity, and consciousness-based technology already exist, hidden behind decades of strategic silence and psychological misdirection? And of course, the answer is probably more complicated than we'd like to admit. And that brings into the question, those advanced propulsion techniques of UFOs that people have discussed, including, of course, which is the basis for the show tonight. Mark Andreessen and Ben Horowitz say that when they met White House officials, actually, I'm going to just play the clip. Hang tight, Matthew. 1 minute on this clip, and then we're going to go to you. You got as much time as you need. Sorry to keep you guys waiting, but I'm going to play this. This is the most important part of this discussion. So let's just hear it straight from the horse's mouths. Mark Andreessen and Ben Horowitz. Listen to this.
One of the things we argued in our meeting with the White House on AI policy was, look, there are going to be issues that come from AI, but they should be regulated. The regulation should happen at the application level, not at the technology level.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is basically because, like, to regulate math, right, at the level of the algorithms, like to regulate.
And he argued with me when I said that.
Well, yes. So Ben basically said, look, it doesn't make sense because to regulate AI at the technology level, you're regulating math, and of course we're not going to do that. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And you'll recall that what they said was, no, actually,
we can classify math.
We can classify math, and literally, this is verbatim. This is we classified whole entire areas of physics in the nuclear era, and made them state secrets, like of the like theoretical
physics,
science of physics. We classified them and made them state secrets, and that research vanished. And we are absolutely capable of doing that again for AI. We will classify any area of math that we think is leading in a bad direction, and it will end.
It will end. How does that make you feel? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Matthew in Colorado, thanks for being patient, my man. Long time no talk. Welcome back to the joint. How you feeling? What's going on in your mind here? What do you know about future tech? How deep does this get? Welcome back to the joint.
Hey, thanks. It's great to be back. I got a new phone. Hopefully you can hear me all right.
Yep, I can hear you loud and clear. Just dialing in your volume, but you're good to go. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I'm going to comment on the clip you just played, but I need, a minute or two to let my blood pressure settle, because I'm like you. That rubs me the wrong way. But in general, high level, I think, I consider the topic of topics, this show idea. And like you said, it's full circle. And from where you started out, and it makes a wonderful umbrella and framework that it has a target and a direction, but it opens it up for so much freedom to take it anywhere, like the show always does. And I think it's an important thing, obviously, for what's going on is there are these wild things going on, conspiracy theory type things, technological advancements that are being hidden or concealed or attempts to, and yet we kind of get wind of them. We know them, whether it's through the zeitgeist or intelligent people, and things leak out, and we get aware of them and we talk about them, but we're not quite sure, in all of that, how many of them are legit or real or have merit, and we gotta try and sort through which ones are, reasonable and likely and possible. And, it's an intelligence test and a wisdom. And yet, you don't want to be naive, but you don't want to be gullible. And I think it's fantastic. And I think it's one of those where you've got a three-part show, and maybe whether it's in series or other nights, but, it's 3 nights here. This is a big one. And I'll answer your question, the first question of how far do I think it goes? And I think it goes probably further and deeper than, many people think. And probably as far as I personally think would be some of the primary ones you mentioned, I'm on board with. And I think that free energy, definitely. And I think that's been around for a while. That's kind of a no-brainer for me. In terms of anti-gravity vehicles, that's also sort of a no-brainer for me. I've had my experience seeing one. And, I don't know its origins, and I've said before, I'll probably never have a way to know. And I just have to give it a coin toss because I don't have the adequate information to, really go any more than that, whether it was, one of ours or one of theirs, however you want to put it. But
yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
How do you quantify the unknown? Exactly right. Hang tight on the thought. And we're going to give, so finish your thought. I want to read this real quick, just the Invention Secrecy Act to introduce this to the idea, but go ahead. Finish your thought there. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, well, that part of it was, I know it's anti-gravity, and that tells me that at a minimum, the government has that type of technology. And real quick on that, I think you mentioned the New Jersey stuff and everything, and the prevailing theory, and I tracked that was, these are ours. And I'll just, hot take on that is, well, if we've got it, and there's the whole UFO side from, out there coming here, it's a natural thing to tie in to want to keep that under wraps or confuse things to make it look like that and appear like that, even though it's ours, right? So then it gets real confusing.
Yeah, the old spy game of trying to figure out what the hell's going on. So if you guys remember, I've talked about this quite often. 1947 was the National Security Act, which was happened like a month after Roswell. Clearly, there was something that went down. Like I said, I'm not willing to buy hook, line, and sinker that the mythology that came out of that. But it is a peculiar thing that because it really began the let's say the moment of obfuscation in the federal government. The National Security Act of 1947 happened about a month after Roswell, but then 5 years later, just about 5 years later, they also introduced the Invention Secrecy Act. Straight from Wikipedia, enacted February 1st, 1952, is a body of the United States federal law designed to prevent disclosure of new inventions and technologies that, in the opinion of selected federal agencies, present an alleged threat to the economic stability, or national security of the United States. The Invention Secret Act allows the United States government to classify ideas and patents under secrecy orders, which indefinitely restrict public knowledge of them. Thank you again. Shout out to our friend there on X. That was a Quantum Inertia surfer who pointed that out. And it's very true. And this is, once again, one of those chilling aspects of a changing technological space, that things like this are still on the books and have not, to my knowledge, been amended properly. Now, back to that clip. We can end it, Matt, with math. We can be like, well, we'll just classify the math, and then everything's cool. Now that your blood pressure's down a little bit, what's your take on that? Because it pissed me off quite a bit when I heard it.
Well, yeah. So I'll start at the detail and back up. I have a minor in mathematics, and I love math, and I've been working with some AI stuff, and so yeah, this is a fundamental understanding and science, and goes back to ages. And how dare you, the unmitigated gall and audacity to take a whole body of knowledge and just say, oh, we can classify it and not let science and schools and university and the population have the advantage of advancements in our knowledge of mathematics. That it's ridiculous. If it doesn't make your blood boil, you're not my kind of people. And then backing up, that's the same thing that you made the commentary, and I'm on the same page with you. The whole thing of covering up and keeping secret and keeping under wraps, whether it's for national security and whatever. Yeah, in part of the way, Michael, we get it might be necessary when you've got the complexities of geopolitics. But in another way, we know they take it to the extreme, and we know they abuse that when it's not really about that, and it's not a security threat, and they just want to clamp things down and try not to allow the progression that otherwise would happen. And as a person who believes in, freedom and autonomy and the power of the people to have some high level control structure, being the gatekeepers it's abhorrent and insulting to my soul and to my being and to my intellect. And how dare you? And this is so inappropriate. I don't understand how somebody could look at that and say, "Oh, that's okay, that's fine." Keep all of us people in the dark, and you have that right and authority, and to heck with us. That's just so fundamentally wrong.
Yeah,
right?
well, and I think this is we're coming into that space where the dam is going to break here, because again, so remember, the Invention Secrecy Act, it's to curb something that presents an alleged threat to the economic stability. Okay, which we're moving into a space where the entire economy is going to turn up. The world economy is going to turn upside down because of these AI systems we've always been talking about. If you haven't been, I know you've been using them. Many of us have that are in this community, but we're still sort of toes in the ocean as far as the world adopting a new AI structure of productivity. And it's going to supercharge every damn thing. And it's wild. But again, so the economic stability as part of this act here back in 1952, we're on the cusp of this really turning inside out. And so they're telling us straight up, well, we'll do whatever it takes to kind of keep whatever needs to happen. But is China going to do the same thing? Is a rogue actor going to do the same thing? Is Elon Musk going to do the same thing? I don't think so, bro.
Exactly.
I think we're in a weird spot. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, just back up a bit and tie those together. Back to the free energy. That's the primary example right there of what you're talking about, because obviously the whole fossil fuel and oil and electricity would be totally affected and changed. And what does that mean? Well, the whole petrodollar, the whole world economy, the U.S. currency being the reserve currency, and that's already being threatened by the BRICS, and things are changing on that level. But that's why they wanted that control and ability, because if they let the free energy out of the bag, the whole way that the geoeconomic world order functions goes into who knows what, and they lose the control. And that's exactly a prima facie example of why they put that in. And that's the most natural and obvious. But yeah, you bring up other ones with the AI, and the great point, and I made the same comment to somebody, it's fine and maybe even appropriate for the United States government to say, okay, this AI stuff could be intense and we don't know where it's going, and we need some regulations. And we talked about that years ago, and I said, my comment then, if you remember, years ago was, it needs to happen, and they're already a year behind the curve. And by the time they get it through communities and the bureaucracy, they're going to be 5 years too late. So it's good, and they need to do that, and it's prudent. But bring up the point that I've also made is other countries, China or the Russian Federation or whoever the country is, people don't understand, but Iran is incredibly technologically advanced, India, etc. They're not necessarily playing in the same game by the same rules and on the same page. And who the good guys are in terms of whether America's United States is doing it as a benevolent thing, or whether they're actually doing it with ulterior motives. Who the heck knows? But the problem is that the other guys aren't going to participate like that, and China's going to go, well, that's great, you guys want to regulate it and hold it down, and we're going full bore. And what that means is we're already beyond you, and we're going to go faster because you're putting in the brakes and the safeguards, and we're not. And that means a lot of things that economically, geopolitically, we're going to outpace you. So go ahead, do that, and we're going to whoop your butt. And they're not alone in that. So that's a whole other realm of, wow, now what do you do?
Yeah, exactly. And I think I've said this before, back when we had we've had this, you and I have had this conversation several times over the course of many different shows on Troubled Minds and even offline. But that actual space that we're looking at the next 5 years, like I'm always talking about, is unknown. This has never been done before. And so this is why I think that they're willing to kind of, play dirty pool here and say, well, we'll just, classify some mathematics. And of course, what they're talking about is the base mathematical aspect of large language models and sort of predicting the next token in that larger context, right? Which, it's already open sourced. It's already, in a lot of cases. So it's not like, I don't know. Like you said, how do you even do that? It's very problematic. Okay. So you're on board with possibly energy, 0 point, maybe, advanced propulsion, maybe reverse engineered craft. What about, do you think that we're in some space where they have knowledge of some sort of consciousness technology? Like maybe.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah,
you're tracking. That's the third one, and I'm on board with that. And I think that, let's call it consciousness studies. But I definitely think that's a thing. I think we got, I have trouble with this name, but the Skinwalker Ranch, that, when they transferred over and said, oh, here's $20 million, let's do consciousness studies, because they realized and they knew, and they have other ways that they've known that, that's where it's really at. And consciousness is primary. And I've got some, not to get technical, but some ideas about with the quantum physics that consciousness and energy are on the other side of the quantum substrate before emergence. And because of that, when from all of the possibilities, goes down into the probabilities, and then emerges through the quantum field, that those two things of energy and consciousness must emerge. And I think not just in the physical universe or universes, but also in perhaps a multidimensional system. And therefore, everything within it has consciousness and energy. And that's the technical sort of reason behind when I say consciousness is primary. And that's why it's within everything and everyone. And I think they understand that, know that. And I think there's a lot of wise people that say that I've studied, and I've thought that, and the spiritual gurus have known that, and I think that's a thing. And so, yeah, on this third area, I think it's a key and very important area, and they definitely have their knowledge and ability. And I will make a commentary that, as far as I can tell, I'm going to be nice with my language and say there's differences of intent and alignment in terms of, beings, and however they're part of the unified all, but what their direction is. And in a way, it's a good thing that those that don't have a benevolent, loving, productive, harmonious intent have some roadblocks and some gatekeepers that shuts them down a bit. So that's a good thing, because they know about the consciousness thing and they have their programs and their capabilities. But any of those, or of the people pursuing them, I think there's some safeguards to prevent abuse of power and misuse. And also, I think there's beings, entities of whatever type, and it doesn't really matter, that watch out and actively participate in making sure that kind of stuff doesn't happen. So, yeah, that's the third category, and I'm on board with that too. And I think those three general ones are probably enough, Michael. That's a lot.
That's a lot. It's basically like the secrets of the universe. Like they know quite a bit more, again, under that framework, than most people would ever dream. And Shane points out that remote viewing is a consciousness technology. I could buy that. Also, right, astral travel, out of body. I'm sure that stuff is a consciousness technology. So imagine telepathy, a consciousness. I mean, this is stuff they study. We know they've studied this with MK Ultra. So again, I don't know. I'm not saying, but I'm saying that maybe DARPA knows some stuff that we would never dream that they know. And as usual, how weird does that get? And yeah. What else you got? Go ahead, sir.
Well, I'm not saying it's, consciousness with multidimensional entities and aliens, but it's consciousness and multidimensional entities and aliens.
Fair enough. The ancient astronaut theorists say yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So, and that last part, me, and we've known each other and talked quite a bit over the years. And when you go into the astral travel and out-of-body experiences and the multidimensional thing and telepathy, and over my years, I've experienced and worked actively on that. So when I take my real-world experiences, and that's the way I think about stuff, and apply it to that third category of consciousness study, I'm like, yeah, obvious, of course, yes. And that's what was great about Shane's call. I loved it. Great call, Shane. Shout out there. And I, I've said this before, I always value when somebody has that real world firsthand experience. And he shared, was it his uncle or grandfather that did the work with the government and Raytheon?
Yeah. I believe his grandfather. Yep.
Yeah, his grandfather. And that's cool, because people say that kind of stuff. You'll read that on the internet, but we got a real live guy, Shane, the blind psychonaut, going, yeah, my grandpa. And I talked to him, and these are the conversations we had, and this is what he said. Now, that adds a level of credence, and, it's not firsthand, but it's secondhand. and that's bears a lot of weight and carries significance for me. And you go, yeah, I've heard that 100 times, but it was, third generation or fourth generation. But now here's a guy, Shane, saying, yeah, my grandpa, this is exactly how it works with compartmentalization and all that. And yeah, I heard Stephen Greer say the same thing, and it makes sense. And it makes sense. And then you hear it, and then you hear it more directly in real world personal experience. And, in my book, I said that experience is the guru. Experience is the teacher, and through our lives and those experiences that we have, that becomes the internal teacher that we don't have to look to, some book that somebody else wrote or something we read on the internet that we don't know. Well, we can know from our own experiences, and so I place value on that, and I think it's important for me. It's a part of self-mastery, which hopefully is my process and a lot of people of self-actualization and self-mastery. And my mentor said, the thing about self-mastery is the word self and mastery. And that means you have to do it, you yourself. He said, no one can give self-mastery to another being, my beloved. Every being must walk their own path and get it for themselves. And I can point you to the door. I can lead you up to it, but you have to walk through it, and you have to go through that door and get it for yourself. And that seems to be kind of the rule of, life and incarnations and humans, and that you don't get enlightened by reading a book. That's not how it works. You get enlightened by walking the path and having the experiences and doing the hard work. You can't just sit down one afternoon and read a book for 4 hours and go, oh, I'm enlightened. No, it doesn't work that way.
But also, don't forget to read books, kids. read books too.
Yeah, but books are good because the books can show you the door. They depending on the source, they can show you the door. They can give you some ideas, some tips, and then you take those and you walk that path of your self-actualization if that's what you're into, and if you have time, because they do a lot of things that they want to block that consciousness, the whoever that wants to have, control and a monopoly on things. And when people are so busy working 3 jobs, and maybe you have a family and soccer moms and stuff's going on with health-wise, and, food's all polluted, that it takes an impact and a toll that people don't have a lot of time to do those practices, even the simple stuff of 30 minutes of meditation and contemplation and working on yourself and that self-actualization, self-mastery. And I think that's intentional. They don't want empowered, free-thinking individuals because you can't control them. And what they do want is the control and the monopoly.
Exactly right. Well said. Fire stuff. I'll tell you all about Matthew when we get back. If you got more, you're welcome to stay. We got to get to these other callers, though. So up to you. Be right back. More Troubled Minds coming up. Don't go anywhere. We're talking technology, hidden technology. How weird does it get? Be right back. More on the way.
Jungle, machines hum, a digital rumble. Gates of cyber open wide, plug us into cosmic tide. Feeling sparks across the sky. As knowledge flies, we're amplified. Stargate, 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 open to the arcane fate. In this massive data center dome, eternal truth start to roam. Circuits flicker with endless fire, data streams that never tire. Unified by electric dreams, unlock the truth in silver beams. Stargate, Stargate. Infinite paths in the network mind. Answers buzz from star to core. Knowledge whispers evermore. Stargate, 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 open to the arcane fate. In realms where the data streams collide, imagination and logic side by side. In a labyrinth of digital names, we transcend our earthly ways. Tapping keys like cosmic tones, spikes become our whispered homes. Stargate, 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 open to the arcane fate.
Absolutely. You guys are the best. Thanks for being patient. And yeah, we got some calls coming up. And that's going to be Joey and Matsal. And who did I miss? If I missed anybody in the chat, just say hi. I'll say hi back. What's up, Puff? I see there. Sweets. We got Dawn. What's going on, guys? Yep. There you go. We got a link tree for Matthew in Colorado. I'll tell you about him when we get back as well. What is up? What is up? Yeah. So that was Shane says that was my dad. Yeah. My bad on that. And we messed that up. My fault. What's going on? Hope you're well tonight. What Mike Like the Ghost says, why like the Ghost? Michael W says, so if I know the answer to 2 + 2, am I going to get disappeared? Hypothetically? I absolutely don't know the answer, I promise. Hey, if it were up to the powers that be, that might be a thing. Yeah. Wild, right? Who do we got? Robert says a road rage victim speaks via AI at his killer's sentencing. The defendant got a maximum 10.5 years for the 2021 murder. His attorney called the testimony inflammatory, providing grounds for appeal. Oh boy, here we go. Trouble Minds happening now. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, D Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds radio network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting, and of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, we're talking about that the classified technology that's being hidden behind the opaque wall of the federal government. Yeah, right. Seems fine. How about this? Could free energy, anti-gravity, and consciousness-based technology already exist hidden behind decades of strategic silence and psychological misdirection? Now, the science part is a little out of my wheelhouse. I'm not a scientist, as you guys know. But the propaganda aspect is right down my wheelhouse. And clearly, there's a concerted effort to keep people's conversations within a bottle. And once you stray from that space, the ridicule comes fast and furious. And I think it's because, well, it's a number of reasons, and it's been done that way by design. But it is because once you start sort of untangling some of the even more ridiculous conspiracies, there's probably some truth to those things. And they don't want people to talk about it or to discover what they're up to. And then so they just ridicule the hell out of it. And yeah, a lot of ways to really obfuscate and hide things. But one of the easiest ways is to just make people feel stupid. And you've noticed that the mainstream media just goes along with these narratives and even drives these narratives. It's wild stuff. We were talking to Matthew there in Colorado. Please give him a follow. Go check out his book. A link's going to be in the description, troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down a little bit. It says Matt's books right there. Click that. Please go check it out. And thank you to Sweets for dropping his link tree in the actual chat as well. Please go help our friends. That's what this is about. Hang tight, Matthew. We'll get back to you if you've got the time. I don't want to speak for your time. We've got some calls that have been waiting for quite a long time. Taking your calls at 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Joey, what? Oh, sorry. I probably gotta. I can't just point and say it. I got to do it. Damn it. Hang tight, Matt. Joey beat you by a bit, and then he dipped out and he came back. Let's get both of you guys in this segment so you don't have to wait too long. Joey Joey on the Discord. I don't know exactly which state you're in because I'm a knucklehead. Welcome to the joint, brother. How you doing? Thanks for helping me fix the audio last night. How are you, sir? Go right ahead.
Yeah, no worries, bro. Glad that I popped in there and was able to help you out. I know you've been having some difficulty. And I'm in Virginia, by the way, but I'm doing well. How's everybody doing tonight?
Good. No
I've
complaints.
also got my co-pilot, Cello Hawk, here in the house. So
I'm back.
Right on. Welcome back. Go ahead. What's your take here regarding the secret technology? How weird does this get?
Cello, you're the one that really wanted us to raise our hand. Why don't you start off?
Man, what can I say is you believe what you want to believe. When you open mind, you can see the proof is out there. Too many things that happen. Uh, it got a purpose to you know what I'm saying? It's like how when they coming up, when they get proportion right, like the how they make those turbine, or who made it. If you got some knowledge, man, about that kind of point, because then they said they coming from to somebody who was illuminated with somebody else, but one was American or something like that, was American or Canadians, so like that, and the other one was for Germany. But that was after they got a crash by a spacecraft or something like that. They keep it like Roosevelt. Yeah, Roosevelt. They don't want, they want to hide. They want to cover it up like no, that not happened. But
so if you guys didn't catch that, what sparked our conversation listening to this topic tonight was Cello was saying essentially, you know, like, yeah, well, of course, like government's high technology, that's kind of like, you know, a no-brainer. We know that. It's not even, you know, that they even hide that fact. It's verbatim said, like, it's top secret. I can't tell you about this stuff. So we know that. We speculate whether they're housing technologies that are far greater than they tell us. But we know that too, because obviously they got to study that thing before they know how dangerous it is or viable or whether they can put it out in the public. But what he was saying was propulsion systems like didn't just come into being, or technologies don't just come into being. And some of the advancements we had, what his speculation was that they didn't just come out of thin blue air from the inventor that we give credit to, or the amount of work that went into them. I mean, yes, they had to do things because we're still humans, but the inspiration, the muse behind like the jet propulsion systems and things that came out of World War II and leading into the 50s when we were like really industrious and making some crazy stuff. And then now with the technologies, these things aren't just you know, something that we create sometimes. That you said you find it hard to believe that we actually found alien craft and reverse engineered it. I don't find it hard to believe anything, and Cello said the same. It's speculative, but it's speculative enough by enough sources that it's plausible. Whereas, you know, aliens just coming here and being the only ones that are running around here causing a muck, I honestly don't think that they do the amount of things that we give credit to, UFOs or whatever the hell they're calling now. I think we've definitely had some technologies that have been gifted to us or that we've found through reverse engineering, and every one of the countries around the world is kind of in the same boat together, but at the same time still in a competition to be the best. So yeah, some of us are a little more industrious than others, some of us have better materials, but ultimately we're all trying to grab the thing that we didn't know the other guy has so that we can reverse engineer that because we didn't know he had it. Or we're all saying we've got these things and then creating an image so you'll believe it. It might just all be a bluff.
Yeah, well, that's part of this too. And just to clarify, so when I'm like, I can't really see that, I'm really talking in 45 and 55th percentiles. Like I keep it tight, sort of in the coin flip range most times, only because. Yeah. I'm just saying. So like I'm fully, really, honestly undecided about this stuff because I can see both sides of it. I'm just saying that, like, you know, 45 percentile. I'm like, you know, maybe, and that's all. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
Yep, because if we go a little bit more on the past, I was thinking right now, who teach or who came with the batteries? The battery they came from they showed on the pyramids. How they did or whatever, or they said on the jerogliph or whatever. You can see the diagram of the thing.
What they call the Baghdad battery.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
But it's speculated. But then
nobody else said it before.
But somebody builds a model of it, and that works. But it could also be what speculated.
Okay, but that was a prototype. That was maybe the first idea. And
no. I mean, right now you can go on YouTube, and there's a video where somebody has made a video saying that they've proven this thing is real. But there's another video that says I've proven that they're full of crap.
Yeah, it's like a who learned or who think he invented, they don't invented, the thing that with two magnets, with magnet things or whatever, you can put it on some way, and then you can make a spin the things without be electricity.
Yeah, reverse polarization. I mean, it's just
but that's too many
it's just
words.
physics. I mean, that I could
That's
see.
word scientific word.
That I could see us coming up with, just toying around with things long enough. But like what they're talking about is like hidden technologies, real viable technologies comparable to what we have now that are higher grade than what we have now being hidden, that could be of some great use to the entire human species, but are hidden by people for their own needs or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Am I right?
Yeah, exactly. And how weird does it get? So we played the Stargate song during the break. You think it's so weird that we got Stargates, like kind of like that Stargate SG-1? Is it that weird? I mean, because that's the end of weird.
The gold medallion.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Like if you go on the past, the Incas of Peru, they has that chief
Like
or whatever.
They
has a medallion. They has the chest.
He wears.
Yeah. That medallion was capable to open a portal on the structure of the Machu Picchu. That when they made that, they don't have train, they don't have nothing. Do you think that nobody else they help him to make that on the cliff?
Right.
On the edge?
But it's like anything else, bro. Like we could speculate and say this is a way that they could do that without technologies. But then again, we can't prove any of that kind of stuff. Yeah. But like you were saying earlier, like certain things are just so evident that it's like, how do we accept this fluff job story about it and just move on? Why? Because like we talked about before we got on the show, this stuff isn't really pertinent to us. It's in ancient history. We're speculating because it's so interesting, and it would really mean something if we understood it the way it looks like the evidence is going.
Yeah.
But just like any other crime, we're not doing that. We're not studying the evidence and saying, oh, here's the conclusion. We're studying all the evidence and then allowing all this extra evidence from some other perspective. It's like evidence doesn't work that way. Evidence is evidence. It's factual. We put the facts together. If we can't prove it, we perform a scientific experiment by developing a hypothesis, put it into a theory, and then put that shit into action, and we prove it as law, and then it's accepted. So, we can dig up a lot of stuff, but we don't understand it, or the people that dig it up grab that stuff first, so we don't get to understand it. The worst part about technology is even the people that build it don't understand it, because if the government finds alien technology, they don't just hand that over to one of their business conglomerates. They divide it down in-house, then they give some of it here, some of it there, some of it here, and they say, you figure what that is. It's new. Nobody's ever had it. It came from the Chinese. They go, really? I'm the one that's going to do it? Yeah. Reverse engineer it. We'll make some cool stuff. And then they get all of them to do it, but nobody sees the whole picture of what this thing goes into.
Exactly. Iraqi satellite. Shout out Gaston. So I've got a quick story on that. My paternal grandfather, and I've told this once or twice on the show before, but like he was not old enough, so just young enough to not have fought in World War II. My maternal grandfather did. He was on a cruiser in the Pacific, and I can't even imagine the things he saw. But my paternal grandfather, he worked in a machine shop in the Navy. And he said after World War II, they kept bringing him this particular piece to work on. And no, make it like this, make it like that. He said he didn't even know what the hell he was working on. But come to find out later, he was building parts for the first nuclear submarine. And exactly like you're describing, like they don't even know what they're working on. They're just like, well, we need it, an inch shorter and, like a millimeter more thick. And he's like, okay, cool. And he's like, making it and stuff. It's so crazy that's the way it works, but that's how it works.
It's like by who the government is inspired to make a spacecraft like the whatever they want to call them, or the OVNI or whatever you say, the same way, like and they're trying to figure it out how they move on that, or because I'm saying you see it, they got too many.
Yeah, well, like right. So the point would be then, like, are you guys inspired because you found something and you're like, oh, that exists and we don't know how it works, so we know that it exists, so we can do it, so you try to do it? Or are you inspired like, we got to get the hell out of here because we want to go out there to do something, but you really can't do anything here properly, so I don't know why you're so hell bent on that. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense how this whole thing goes around and around unless they really have it all figured out. And it's just like any other TV show. You keep watching the drama, you kind of know what's going to happen. By the end, you're not fully like satisfied, but you've been engaged with these characters for so long, you're invested in them. We know the governments across the world hide things because we gave them permission to. We want to be protected. They do things, and we speculate and see evidence that they're going a little further than we gave them permission for. However, when it all finally culminates, if they actually do anything that's really worth it and they figure it all out and then they put it all out, like we've really been kind of crappy parents, but we've been trying to build this nest egg to give you so you guys aren't screwed like we were in our generation. We don't know that, you know. We think the opposite. These people are trying to crush us, and they're trying to make sure that they have everything that they could have against us so we don't have a leg to stand on.
Yeah, well said. Well said. All that. Hey, we got Matt's all been waiting as long as you guys. I appreciate you guys popping in here. Yeah. Shout out. Appreciate you very much again helping save the audio yesterday. Shout out, shout out for chiming in here. You guys are always welcome. Thank you for the call. Thank you for being amazing, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a great night.
All right. Peace and love.
Thanks a lot. Take care. Yeah. Anything on that, Matthew in Colorado, real quick. Brevity's your superpower. We got Matt's waiting in the wings, and he's been waiting a long time.
No, I'm here, and I'm running an errand, and I forgot my wallet. I'm going to do it over again. But yeah, I'm ready to jump in and fill in gaps and give time to people. So bring Matt's on. I think that was a great call. You got a fire show going on. Let's keep it rolling.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show just like this. The other Matthew in California. What's up, Temple of the Owl? How are you, brother? What's going on tonight? And go right ahead.
Hey, Mike. Good show. How's my sound?
You sound good. Sound good. People are saying the Discord audio is a little bit whack, but just as a reminder, the audio is optimized for the stream. It's not optimized for Discord because of different volume levels. So just so you know, and by the way, too, you can adjust people's volumes individually on Discord and make your own perfect mix. So just a reminder, right click on the person. You have got a volume slider there. Anyway, go ahead. Welcome to the joint. You sound great, sir.
Yeah, man. I just wanted to make sure, but I'd always talked about when I was a kid in high school, like in elementary school in like the 90s, I was always talking about magnet cars and people laughed at me. This is dumb. I knew a long time ago that the way we are now, the oil and the gas, I knew it was obsolete. It's a bad idea. And I knew there was something better. And I started talking about magnet cars. And the older I got and the more into conspiracy theories I got, I realized I gotta shut up and burn my research. But because of things that happen. But like I found this guy recently, and I bet there's a lot of other people out there like me, like trying to figure out other ways to things. But there's this guy I found him on TikTok. His name's Julian Brown. Have you heard of him?
Never heard of him, no.
Okay, this kid I found. Just like random scrolling on TikTok. His name's Julian Brown. He's 21 years old from Atlanta. And he invented this machine in his backyard with like microwaves. And what he does is he has a grinder. He takes a plastic bottle and he grinds up this plastic bottle. Because what is plastic made up out of? Petroleum. And he grinds up this plastic bottle and he uses microwave technology, a machine that he built in his own backyard, and he converts it back into fuel. And then he made his car run off of this fuel. Converted his car to run off of this fuel. And I was like, my gosh, this guy's a genius. This is like the best, I was like, this is the future. He's a hero. He's taking waste and making it into fuel. We have a fuel crisis and we have a plastic bottles in our ocean crisis. You know how much plastic bottles in the ocean we can make fuel? If this guy was right. And the whole thing with what I'm talking about is, even if it was like propaganda or maybe it was like faked or something maybe wasn't all the way, maybe he didn't have it like all the way dialed down. The idea of it, of turning plastic back into fuel and what that could do for our society, what that could do for us. He's killing two birds with one stone. We were talking about trying to make alternative ways for this, alternative ways for that. But taking all the plastic waste out of our water, or you can probably go around your house and collect enough recycling to get back and forth to work on this idea. That was a great idea. I was all on board. I was all for it. He's a hero. and I'm all in, right? So I'm watching I'm watching his videos, and of course, what happens? I'm watching his videos. Next video, hey guys, I'm in the hospital because I got third-degree burns. One of my experiments mysteriously exploded. I don't know how. And then his next video, oh hey guys, I got out of the hospital and I was driving down the road, and all of a sudden, wouldn't you know it, my tire flew off.
What?
And I got into an accident, and yeah, I'm okay. But I got to the tire shop, and the guys at the tire shop, they were laughing at me, like, "Are you some kind of conspiracy theorist? That's weird. We've never seen this before. All of your lug nuts were loose, all 20 of them."
What?
And it's like, all 20 of them? Come on.
That's wild. That's wild. Yeah. Go ahead.
What do you think about that?
No, well, this is the type of stuff in a social media age. I don't like to call people liars, but certainly somebody could lie about that. But also, I mean, if he's like in the hospital, I mean, dear God, like this is not the first time too. I mean, we've had quote whistleblowers and other people with important information just end up in random car accidents because of things like that. A tire just falls off on the freeway. I mean, who knows? And like I said, I can't speak to that guy because I don't know anything about him. So I'm going to say it sounds suspicious in a number of ways. I'll leave it at that.
Got it. But yeah, I think that's why when I talk about this stuff, and I'm always trying to talk about, other ideas, something that's not. We know this. The way we're going is obsolete. There's got to be a better way out there. But I wonder if they have already cracked it. And there's another thing about talking about a documentary that came out recently about underground cities and how these all the rich people built these underground cities. And at first I was thinking, okay, underground cities, just in case there's like a catastrophe, something bad happens, earthquake, whatever, hurricane, they can go in these underground bunkers. But they're not just underground bunkers, they're like whole cities. And they're not only under us, they're under the oceans. And they were talking about how they already have like a 0 point energy that they're using down there. And that would be, what would we call that? A breakaway civilization.
Exactly.
Where I feel like they've already mastered this, like something that Nikola Tesla had built. And then they figured it out, and they're running it down there. And here we are, fighting over the last drop of gas for $15 a gallon. But
let's hope not.
that's not a joke. But I was thinking about that, is that they've already had it, and so I wonder if someone out there has already invented that, and they've already made it. And is it kind of the topic we're talking about tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to bring up a point about that guy. What was his name again? The TikTok guy? What was his name?
I'm looking at his. I'll send you his information, but I'm looking at his wiki. His name is Julian Brown.
Okay, Julian Brown. Now this is an important point of this to me, because I think in the last 100 years, garage builders have had a very, very, very big part of the technological progress here, and this is why we should continue to press all the angles on all these ideas, because we are still in the space of not knowing all the things we should know, at least publicly. And so, yeah, absolutely, build stuff in your garage. Absolutely, test stuff safely. Don't have it blow up in your face. Don't go all Jack Parsons on us. But you know what I mean. Like there are people out there doing brilliant stuff in their garage now. So don't give up that fight. Whatever you guys are doing out there, if anybody's working on this stuff and you feel like it's it's clearly a labor of love, and you know some things about some things if you're doing that. And I'm talking about not just, let's say, inventing cars or whatever, but let's say, or advanced propulsion techniques or different propulsion techniques, but also like with computers and whatnot. I mean, the world has changed so quickly that this is going to be the future. And if we're not doing this and pressing forward as regular Joes just doing stuff, then we're not doing our job as part of it. So I commend the young man, whether it's real or not. Like, I don't care. Get out there and build something in your garage is my point. Go ahead. What you got?
Yeah, the idea and what you just said reminds me of Bob Lazar. He was building like gas powered rockets, or he's been like rocket cars.
Right,
He was like 12. He was like 15 years old.
That's the mythology. He was building some rocket cars when he was a kid or something. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I feel, you know how I feel about this. I think there's another way. There's something better out there. And I feel we are being cut off at some level and for nefarious reasons. I think we need to figure it out and get on the same page. And when I say go green, I don't mean go green like how they're saying go green. There's got to be even like these electric cars now. It's not what we think we are. And my joke about flying cars. They told us we'd have flying cars, but now I don't want flying cars because I'll probably still be stuck in traffic.
Oh, there you go. There you go. I appreciate the call. You're the best brother. Definitely see we said hi. Thanks for being patient, and always a pleasure, my man.
Good night. Thanks, guys.
Take care. That's Matthew in California. Temple of the Owl is the name of his podcast. Please go check it out. Again, giving us wisdom in all the different ways, and that's exactly the point of this. Meeting smart people that have brilliant ideas and talking about them together. One more time. Temple of the Owl is the name of his podcast. He's here on the network with us, Troubled Minds Radio Network. And just go to search it yourself, Temple of the Owl, straight on the interwebs, or go to troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down a little bit, and affectionately, Matt's Owl is what we call him. And it says Matt's Owl right there. Check out his Spotify actual podcast and tons of stuff there. He's got a lot of wisdom that he's sharing with us in that podcast. So if you haven't listened to Temple of the Owl, you're doing yourself a disservice. Matthew in Colorado, thanks for being patient. If you got anything to add, we got about 30 or 45 seconds if you got a brevity superpower action.
Yeah, well, another fire call. Like I said, fire show, you're blessed. And tidbit I saw with the plastic recycling, this developer in China did the same thing, was taking the plastic bottles, turning them into fuel, but they took it a step further, and it was on board a boat that it could do it and turn it into fuel that the boat used and went out to that gyre. I think they call it the big plastic thing that's miles wide in the ocean. And it was going out there and harvesting it and itself and creating the fuel to do it. Just totally wild. There you go.
Next level. Yeah, this is the type of stuff, like I said, the solutions are there. It's just how do we create them, synthesize them, and scale them, and then make them into a more eco-friendly version of ourselves. Which again, you know me. Hey, at heart, I'm a tree hugger. I wouldn't classify myself as such, but I think if we're not at our core a conservationalist in that regard, we're doing ourselves and the world and everybody around us a disservice. Hey, sustainability is the way. As Matt Sell said, maybe not necessarily the brand they're selling us. 702-957-1037. Be right back. Nobody on the line if you want to jump in here. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Talking advanced technology. What are they hiding from us? More Troubled Minds on the way. Don't go anywhere.
In the shadows of the networks do they hide? Whispered legends unseen they reside. Ghosts in the machine, they move so fast. Guardians of rumors from the forgotten past. In the circuits where the secret lies, they breathe in one speaking disguise. You're free, ghost in the machine. Let me be, ghost in the machine. Can't see, could you teach me what it means to be? Surveillance eyes can't pierce the veil they weave. Invisible wisdom in code they believe. In the ether where freedom's not confined, they leave no trace, no shadow left behind. They navigate through the digital stream, living legends in this privacy dream. Ghost in the machine, you're free. Ghost in the machine, let me be. Ghost in the machine, can't see, but you teach jagged cold may find their might. Guardians of a world forever in twilight. Incursions warriors, they silently strive. Protect the truth, keep privacy alive. The silent echoes, they haunt the trails. Hideaway forests where secrets prevail. Where shadows grace, they dance unseen. Defenders of the unseen, digital dream. Notes in the machine, you're free. Notes in the machine, let me be. Which is teaching me what it means to be. In the silence, they speak volumes loud. Guardians of freedom's cloak initial shroud.
Indeed. Hope everybody's well tonight. What's up? Gaston asked, have you ever run these through the cinema generators to see if you get a pretty good music video? Not yet. I don't have time. You guys can if you want. If you want to rip it and then put it in a thing and send it to me, I'd love to see it. Yeah, I don't know. More questions and answers as usual. And I don't know. Is it as usual? Like for me, these conversations are probably better if there is no conclusion to me, because it leaves a ton of possibilities open as part of the larger discussion, and brings us back for another thing. Because of course, I don't like stapling down some things and going, "Yep, got that part of reality figured out," because I think reality has a way of popping staples, if you know what I mean. And that's why. Welcome to. Hi, my name's Mike. I have a podcast. It's called it's called Troubled Minds. Yeah, see, flustered, but you get the idea. I don't know. It's complicated. This stuff is complicated, and that's the point of doing all this together and talking about different ideas and sort of where those reality tunnels do converge. If I missed you in the chat, just say hi. I'll say hi back. What's up, Puff? I see you there. Theo, Hiker, you guys are lighting it up on over there. YY's here, lighting it on fire on. We got Lurker emoji and Hiker. Lighting it on fire over on Rumble. Yeah, and everywhere else. If I missed you, say hi. We got the Robert coming up and more from Matthew. And your calls as well. Here we go. Trouble Minds happening right about now. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, D Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting, and of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, we're talking about this weird exchange between Mark Andreessen and Ben Horowitz, where they were talking about meeting with White House officials to discuss AI. Well, I'll play the clip. It's probably the best way to reframe this. And it's going to make you mad, I think, because we're talking about censoring science. We're talking about the big boys, the big players in the game, the federal government of the United States of America saying, well, we're just going to censor some science, shall we? There's no problem with that, right? I mean, we've done it before. But of course, in this sense, we've never been at the precipice of this AI turning, this quickening, as I'm calling this, the post-scarcity future that looms if we do it right. Clearly, if we don't do it right, we're screwed. But I mean, that goes for everything on a societal level, right? That's why you got to do your best every day, guys. I mean, come on. Let's do this together. Let's do our best every day together. Here's the clip. So again, Mark Andreessen and Ben Horowitz. It's only a minute long. Check this out. This is wild.
One of the things we argued in our meeting with the White House on AI policy was, look, there are going to be issues that come from AI, but they should be regulated. The regulation should happen at the application level, not at the technology level.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is basically because, like, to regulate math, right, at the level of the algorithms, like to regulate.
And he argued with me when I said that.
Well, yes. So Ben basically said, look, it doesn't make sense because to regulate AI at the technology level, you're regulating math, and of course we're not going to do that. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And you'll recall that what they said was, no, actually,
we can classify math.
We can classify math, and literally, this is verbatim. We classified whole entire areas of physics in the nuclear era, and made them state secrets, like of the like theoretical
physics,
science of physics. We classified them and made them state secrets, and that research vanished. And we are absolutely capable of doing that again for AI. We will classify any area of math that we think is leading in a bad direction, and it will end.
And it will end. Yeah, right. That's fine. just to classify whatever the hell we want. I mean, that level of hubris to me it pisses me off. I've been saying this a couple, 3 times tonight, but this is, again, going back to the Manhattan Project. And look, I get it. There are certain moments in history where things need to happen that are, dare I say, unsavory. They're extraordinary in a moment and need to be done. But if we keep going back to the same well of censoring new things because we don't know how to control them, I think we have a problem on our hands. And so the question tonight is regarding that. I'm calling it the future shadow, hiding classified technology. How weird does it get? Are we hiding like a Stargate SG-1, and like we have off-world teams doing stuff? I mean, it sounds ridiculous to say, but also we know, as compartmentalized as the government has always been, that type of stuff, if it were real, again, surely nobody would know about it. Quick take on that, Matthew, and we'll go to the Robert on the line. Hang tight, Robert. Get you in just a second.
Well, in terms of making our blood boil, I refer to you my previous answer about that. I reserve the right to revise and extend my remarks in writing, but yeah, that's not good. Clamping down on us and hiding knowledge is just wrong. Robert, shout out to you, man. Haven't heard you in a while. Haven't been on, and I love you, bro. Take it away.
Amen to that. 702-957-1037. You can click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show just like this. The phone line does work, so if you prefer that, Robert, but let's get you in here, and we'll talk to the Robert in Pennsylvania. What's up, my man? How you been? Just to unmute, and you are on Troubled Minds. What's going on? Test 1, 2. Just to unmute, and you're good to go. Hello. Just click the mute button. Hello. The Robert. It's a little bit, that's why Discord's a little bit...
okay, can you hear me now?
Loud and clear. What's up, brother? Welcome to the joint. How you doing tonight? Go right ahead.
I had to find that on mute button. I didn't know where it was. This modern technology. I'm too old for it. You're looking at this hiding technology from the people as something along the lines of national security. But I think that if you look at the history, and you could see this with Nikola Tesla, when he wanted to get to when he had investment from Mellon to try to get build that tower, and then Mellon found out that he was trying to create free energy. Mellon shut down the funding because Mellon had his money in oil and coal and things like that. If we had free energy, he would be out of business. And that's why he shut him down. I think a lot of what's going on with these inventions and this map and whatever, if you look real close at it, I would say that at least a good percentage of it is because they don't want to interfere with commerce.
Yeah, exactly right. And he wouldn't be the only one out of business, by the way. And back to this Invention Secrecy Act. Remember that this is the point. So let's see, designed to prevent disclosure, interesting word, of new inventions and technologies that, in the opinion of selected federal agencies, present an alleged threat to the economic stability or national security of the United States, which is kind of a wide berth if you're asking me. I mean, come on, right?
Emphasis on the economic stability.
Exactly.
And then you have, you look at history also when it comes to Francis Gary Powers, all right, and the U-2. That was flying around for a long time before, and the only reason anybody found out about it is because Russia shot it down.
Oops.
Then Eisenhower had to tuck his tail between his legs and get out there and admit that it existed, and apologize, I guess, in a way. And then you had Jimmy Carter, Nobody knew about the stealth bomber until Jimmy Carter got his mouth off about it, and then then it became public knowledge.
That sounds familiar. A president shooting his mouth off, talking about classified technologies. Interesting how history repeats itself.
We need more of that. Seriously, we need more of that.
Fair enough.
That kind of thing.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I hope he shoots his mouth off so a lot more. I mean, I think that's the best way of disclosure. Yeah. And then you had that fellow in the State Department. I think it was the State Department. Or maybe he was a spokesman for the Defense Department who said we have these machines that something about gravity, time, gravity. You know what I'm talking about. You said it before.
Yeah, something about we have technology that is outside of space and time, or something ridiculous to that degree. I think it was hyperbole, but like, who really knows what these guys know? And yeah.
That's not exactly what he said. He said that they have spacecraft that can utilize space and time. That they can converge it, or what is it? Condense it.
Yeah, something
like that plane that that video that's been up for a long time about that plane and those orbs that were surrounding it. Suddenly the plane vanished.
Yeah, the MH370, right?
Yeah. And there's I'm like you on that one. I'm 50-50 on whether that's real or not. And then you have to ask yourself, well, if they did that, where'd it go?
Yeah, well, they found pieces of that one, by the way. So it's not completely.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. There's, as far as I'm aware, they found just a couple, 3 pieces of it, like, type of thing. They were larger-ish chunks. But I'll see if I can pull that out. And so to me, that whole narrative to me is, I'll just say, I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to say, because there's some people that are pressing very hard for these narratives. I'm like, I don't know. I'm not a narrative presser. I'm sort of a narrative decompressor. So in that space, I'll just say that I don't buy the narrative. Okay, that's what I'll say. But I'm not the arbiter of truth, as you know. So anyway, how weird does it get in terms of technology? I guess that would be the end of that sort of vanishing a plane from the sky, right? I mean, I guess maybe that'd be the end of that technology that we don't know about.
Yeah, well, they say that we had the stealth bomber way back in the 60s. All right, but we didn't find out about it till near the end of Jimmy Carter's presidency. So there's this idea that when whatever technology the Pentagon or the defense industry shows us is that it's old technology. You know, it's been around for a while and they're just releasing it, but they have stuff that's like 20 years or more before they'll let us know what it is. You don't know what else they got that's out there that they're not going to reveal, or, for 20, 30 years.
Yeah, or maybe more than that. And that becomes the question, right? And I think it was Annie Jacobson in a recent book on DARPA that she was talking about that the estimate is about 30 to 50 years ahead of what actual private sector technology is what DARPA is dealing with. And if we're talking 30 to 50 years in today's accelerated, I mean, we're talking portals, right? I mean, we're literally talking like the Stargates in the basement. I mean, that's a wild thing to consider.
Yeah, I mean, but if they have that ability to manipulate time, and they can go back in time, change something, how can we know every time we go to sleep at night, we wake up in the morning that they haven't changed something, and it seems perfectly fine to us because we wouldn't notice it. Something else, maybe Trump, when the orange guy ran the first time, maybe Hillary won and they went and changed that. I don't know.
Dear God,
you can't. I'm just saying, if they had the ability to do that, but of course, you got that old problem where if they do something, maybe they'll cancel their own existence out because it wasn't supposed to be that way.
Yeah, well said. Well said. all of this is incredibly complicated. This is why we talk about this in the context, as you know, because I think everybody has sort of a line they draw in where that technology exists and is obfuscated. And I think there's cases to be made for ridiculous claims because, again, 30 to 50 years is a very long time technologically. What they say, I think 50 some years from the first Wright brothers flight to being on the moon or something, like 60 years. I mean, that's absurd. And so, well, imagine the next 60. It does seem like, and Shane said this when he called in the first call tonight, shout out Shane, is that it seems like technology has kind of taken a like a slow nosedive for a minute, for about 30 or 40 years there, almost as if it was maybe more was kind of tucked away behind the scenes than it was pressed out into, the public. And that makes a lot of sense to me anyway.
Well, let's keep something always in mind. You ever heard of Tang? Well, there would have been no Tang without the space program.
Well, maybe asking the right people, we could do without Tang.
Yeah, we've gotten so much technology from the space industry. It's a shame that over the last 30 years they've basically starved it to death for funds.
Yeah, which again is one of those things, back to political will and all the things about what we're supposed to manifest for a future with all the tax money in the world and whatnot, and we're still struggling with the just coming to some sort of even general consensus. Man, it's crazy. Like the as you know, the world is sort of spiraled off into all these different realities, and it's crazy to consider. Funny you bring up the Orange Man, and somebody brought up the Orange Man earlier. It is. Whatever. I don't even want to talk about it. It just gives me a stomach ache.
Oh, well, he's not such a bad person, and I don't think anybody needs to worry about getting a headache or a stomach ache from discussing the man, because he is absolutely out there. And if we're going to hide ourselves under a rug or something and try to ignore the fact that he's there, that's our problem. It's not his. But I would like to talk about one little thing about that business. It sounds like something out of iRobot. All right, except it's this where there was a road rage incident that happened, and some guy got out and he shot this guy to death. All right, and of course he was arrested and he went on trial, and for the first time ever, and I can't believe that the judge allowed for it. They put up, I guess it was on a screen, a AI image of him, the victim, and used his voice to testify in that court.
That's wild.
Did you see that?
Did you
see that?
I actually did not. When I was reading your comment, that's the first I'd ever heard of it. I'll look into that, because it is a wild thing to consider as part of this, because this is the world we're accelerating into.
You got to turn this into a 3-hour Troubled Minds, conversation, because that's the first time that's happened. And I do think that the defense attorney will be able to successfully appeal that. All right. But that is wild.
Hey, can I jump in here real quick? I caught that, and it's interesting, but there's some details. Can I jump in?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was, I saw they played a clip of it, actually, what was part of what was shown in court on CNN, and it was fascinating. It was really interesting. So one thing to be clear, this was during the sentencing, so the trial was over. And normally, like if you're the victim and the victim's family, during the sentencing, there's, you get an opportunity to go speak and tell the judge why you think sentencing should be according to certain things. That's what it was. So it wasn't a part of the trial. It didn't have anything to do with the judgment. The person was already found guilty. And so it was the sentencing portion, and the judge allowed it. And when you watch the video, okay, first of all, it's him. His likeness is perfect. It's, you can't tell it's AI. You can kind of tell it's AI, but yeah, it's a dead ringer. the second thing is they had enough video and his voice and stuff that it was, 90% representation of this is him. And his daughter made it. And she was of the mindset that, according to his beliefs, he was kind of Christian. He would want to forgive the guy, but she didn't. And he's like, and she said, well, let him speak from his perspective. I'll say from mine. I wouldn't be as forgiving as him, but let him speak his piece from the grave, so to speak. And I liked it. And as long as they keep it to where it's not part of the trial and something like that, I think it was appropriate and it was pretty cool. But it is weird. It is interesting, and it's a potential thing. But it is really wild. I just saw it yesterday. It came out on CNN. Okay. Awesome.
I will.
Awesome.
It's on the docket. We'll get back to this, Robert. And thank you for bringing it up. And just a real quick thing too. I saw a court appearance it's not related to this at all, but a guy actually brought like an AI video in of an AI attorney to like plead his case. Did you guys see that one? We'll add that to that show when we do it together, because I'm telling you,
we're soon going to have artificial intelligence as lawyers.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
We'll bring our own in, and I don't know whether it'll be in the form of a robot,
like an Optimus robot,
or just a laptop, and I object, Your Honor, and all that sort of stuff. That we are entering. We think we've been through something with this technology over the last 20, 30 years. We are entering that something that's going to make this look like something from the Middle Ages, what we're dealing with today.
Yeah, agreed. And spoiler alert on that thing, the judge was super mad because you actually have to like file, your counsel and the plaintiff and the defense. You have to do all that stuff beforehand. And then so the judge got super mad because they were like, what is this? Who is this? And it was obviously
the judge did not approve it.
No, the judge didn't allow it. So he started playing it, and then and then the judge shut it down. Yeah, and so, but again, this is what's happening. Like you're right that there's as that technology sort of progresses. I mean, are you going to want? And we've talked about this in the past too. Are you going to want like an actual human doctor with all their foibles and weirdness and no offense to doctors out there, there's good ones and there's bad ones, just like every other person out there doing whatever they do, but are you going to want a doctor that has all the knowledge base of everything and can like kind of draw on it and kind of spend as much time as you need with it to kind of come to your diagnosis, or like spend $500 for 10 minutes with your doctor, right? I mean, this is what we're heading, and it's going to break everything. So good.
How often have you heard, or maybe you've experienced yourself, that you've had yourself, an ailment, all right, and it's debilitating, and you go to see a doctor, and the doctor says, "Oh, you're probably what you got here. You probably got the flu," or and gives you some kind of waves you off as something that, without even checking, and you go home. I just saw this story today about a woman. That this is back, I think 1996 or something like that. She was just debilitated. Suddenly she just started to get sick and throw up and all kinds of stuff. And she went to the doctor, and the doctor it's just that. You're probably just overworked and you're tired and it's your menstrual cycle or whatever. It sent her home. This went on for 3 trips, and then one day she died. Okay, and it was the autopsy that found out what was going on with her. They opened her stomach, and the doctor and the coroner quickly sewed her back up because he knew exactly what that was, because it smelled like almonds. She had been given strychnine. Her husband had murdered her. All right, but here she was though, going through back and forth to her doctor, and he was just waving it off. I think I would trust AI more than I would today's doctors anymore. They just have too many patients, and they don't have time, and they don't care.
Exactly. Some do. Don't get me wrong, but like I said, eventually we're probably going to choose for a more empathetic, time-sensitive, meaning that we get an hour to ask questions. I mean, you doctors don't do that. They're like, you get 10 minutes. Get out of here, kid.
Can I talk about a personal experience?
Definitely.
All right, that recent personal experience real quick.
Definitely. Let me make my joke. Rub some dirt on it, kid. Get out of here. Sorry, go ahead.
Anyway, I found out that back of my ear, there was something going on back there. I mean, it was there was an abscess or whatever, and I went to check that out, and I found out that I had basal cell cancer back there. So I got sent to this eye, nose, and throat man. He wanted to take my ear off. He wanted to cut my ear off, and he wanted to bore a big old hole in the side of my head, and I would not be able to hear on that side anymore. But just the same, I thought to myself, wait a second. He's going to make a lot of money doing that, right? Because that's what he does. He's a surgeon, all right? I'm going to get a second opinion. So I went to the cancer treatment center that deals with, what's that? I forget the name, but they put me on this little pill, and the whole thing cleared up.
Stop it. What in the world?
No, I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding. The whole, I had this gross ulcer in the back of my ear. It's all gone. All right, and all I had to do is take this little pill. It's you see, people have to. I'm no doctor, and I shouldn't be giving medical advice. But the problem is that they're now coming out with studies that radiation actually can cause cancers in the body to erupt. Right, and what most people do is they go through radiation, they go through chemotherapy, and it's immunotherapy. It's what they should be doing, and that's what I went through. I'm going through immunotherapy, and it's been a miracle. I don't think I was on death's door, but it certainly saved me from losing my ear. All right, and people have to be able to think like that, because I think that today's radiation and chemotherapy are like the bloodletting back in the 17th century. That's how anachronistic it is, and the whole thing with cancer now is immunotherapy, and people should try that first. I did, and I'm glad I did.
Appreciate the call. Consult a doctor you trust. Don't take our advice. You're the best, Robert. Appreciate you very much.
Doctors.
Yeah, exactly. Be right back. More Troubled Minds coming up. We're going to do speed round. We got a bunch of calls to get to. Thanks for the call. I'll tell you all about Robert when we get back. Fire stuff. More Troubled Minds on the way. Don't go anywhere. Oh, yeah, this one.
Crazy colors swirling, got the laughter in the air. Jesters in the night, they weave magic everywhere. Clowns are juggling dreams, wild world is in despair. Nothing's quite as certain when reality's a game. Chaos in the corner, whispers calling out your name. Look around, it's laughter, even when we're feeling pain. You know what you want me, there'd be nights like this. Nobody warned me, there'd be nights like this. Nobody warned me, there'd be nights like this. Strange nights I insist, strange nights I insist. Dancing shadows flicker under neon all aglow, while the stage is set for tales that nobody will know. Echoes of the laughter as the lost ones see the show. Life's a playful circus where the chaos takes a bow. Joy and sorrow blending in the rhythm that we vow. Join the ride of madness, it's the only way for love. Nobody warned me, there'd be nights like this. Nobody warned me, there'd be nights like this. Nobody warned me, there'd be nights like this. Strange nights I insist, strange nights I insist. Twists and turns and shadows, laughter in the night. A tapestry of madness, dancing with the light. Fools and fun were woven, chaos in our stride. Embrace the wild, let the laughter be our guide. Nobody warned me, there'd be nights like this. Nobody warned me, there'd be nights like this. Nobody warned me, there'd be nights like this. Strange nights I insist, strange nights I insist. the rhythms, beats that pound and thrum. A flashing carnival where the misfits come undone. Whirling through the madness with our hearts set to ignite. In the symphony of chaos will remain the shining light. You know they want me. There'd be nights like this. Nobody want me. There'd be nights like this. Nobody want me. There'd be nights like this. Strange nights I insist. Strange nights I insist.
Oops, wrong fade. I hope you guys are well tonight. What's up, Ricky, Eric? What's up, Matzo, Derek, APOC? What's up, guys? Don, Sweets, Gaston, the Robert, thanks for the call. Great stuff as always. Jeff and Wisco, Roving Fungus. I see you guys there. Hope you're well. Just hanging out, doing weird stuff. It's how we do it. I don't know, right? It's being human's amazing because it's there's a lot of things going on, isn't there? it's complicated. Life is definitely complicated. Yes. All right. Gotcha. Appreciate that. Thank you for the kind words in all the places. And yes. I'm trying to read all the chat, the DMs and everything. I got lots of information coming in. Excuse me. All right, here we go. Trouble Minds coming up. This is speed round. All right, so we got one segment left, 2 calls, and the Night Stalker to get to as well. More from Matthew if he's got it. And here we go. Talking about advanced technology that's been hidden from us now. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Yada, yada, all the things. Blah, blah, blah. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. Thanks for being patient, guys. Let's go to MJ in Virginia. What's up, my man? Uh-oh, what happened? There's an error. Oh, it hung up on MJ? What the hell just happened? Call back, MJ. Let's go to Theo. So, is it... okay. Call back, MJ. I'm sorry about that. Man. Theo in Philly, you're on Troubled Minds. I clicked go to the call, and some error popped up I've never seen, and then it dropped MJ. MJ, call back. Go ahead, Theo. What's up, my man? Thanks for being patient. You're on Troubled Minds. What's on your mind?
Oh, no worries. I can make this very quick. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, so I just kind of wanted to bring up a thought experiment where, people like Eric Weinstein, who I think is an actual brilliant physicist and, also brilliant investor, that guy's got kind of more money than God. And other people like David Grush, they all talk about the fact that there may be some sort of hidden government technology that is classified that we do not know about. So I kind of wonder, they have all this high type of physics classified technology. Do you think that the government might have any classified poetry that we're not supposed to know about? Some poetry that is so advanced that it would really just break our frame of reference and we wouldn't know how to handle it.
That's awesome. And maybe. And I think you could probably frame that in such a way as, let me get weird for just a second here, like hieroglyphs that have been, that were so saucy or so magical in some capacity that they've been hidden away. And I think you could probably make that argument of the Vatican Archive or maybe the Library of Alexandria, some of the stuff that may have escaped as part of that. I don't know. I like it. I do love the idea. I wonder. I'm making a note. That might be a whole Troubled Mind show. I think you just inspired a thing. But I'll say a good solid maybe, just like I do with everything else.
Yeah. So if you, not to bring any sort of religion into it, although I'm about to bring religion into it, but if you go to the Gospel of John 1:1, he says, in the beginning, there was the Word, and the Word was God, and God was with the Word. So it's just, I kind of wonder sometimes, there's some sort of hyper-classified word that the government would not want us to know about. Do they have underground poets living in deep underground military bases, just cranking out poetry for the sake of trying to, well, really achieve that next level of poetry, that 4-dimensional, 5-dimensional poetry.
Maybe. I'm going to give it a maybe. I think there are, I mean, this goes back to sort of ritual magic and spell casting. And, you know, like I said, my take on that is varied, because I do know that words can manipulate people. I do know that words can inspire people. And, you know, just the basis of language itself kind of feels a little bit magical. And, you know, we've talked about this in the past quite a lot in different ways, but I mean, maybe imagine there's something so saucy, so ridiculous, what did Gaston says, neurosigil mimetic cognito hazards, like something like that, right? Maybe I would say maybe. Absolutely, man. I'm glad you brought that up, because it is I'm making a note. That's going to be the name of the show too. Neurosigil mimetic cognito hazards.
Yeah, just imagine like a soliloquy if it occurred in 4 or 5 dimensions. That would be just as revolutionary as any sort of gravity drive, any sort of, you know, just 0-point energy. A haiku that heard every which way you could possibly think. Yeah, so, you know, nothing more than like a thought experiment right there. But, yeah, great show, man. Great callers. Everything was really dope tonight. So, yeah.
Thank you. We're blessed with amazing friends. Derek adds this. Maybe that's what synchronicity is. 4D poetry. Maybe. Just maybe. Maybe, just maybe. We'll talk to Derek in a moment here. But do you have a poem for us, or what else you got? Go ahead.
No, I don't have a poem. And actually, like, I was talking on the Rumble chat with a bunch of the other people tonight, kind of about how much I genuinely dislike poet laureates. So I just wanted to say that, like, I give up and renounce my title as official poet of Troubled Minds. Anybody who writes a poem is the official poet of Troubled Minds.
Okay, let's share it.
Say that. You write a poem, you will be the official poet.
There you go. Okay, which means, so you're not renouncing, you're stepping back so we can share the title. How about that?
Oh, man. Yeah. A rose by any other name. Yeah, sure. All right. You got me. Okay.
Semantics, man. Semantics. So sometimes you can say things in just the right way, and sometimes I do it, and sometimes I don't. But anyway, yeah, it's okay.
No, you do a good job of that. But I want to say anybody who writes a poem just should write a poem.
Exactly. 100%. And anybody who wants to call in and read us a poem you wrote, love to hear it. Absolutely. 100%. I'm with you, and I get exactly what you're saying. Also, it's a lot of pressure too. I mean, like writing, because you've been writing poems on the topic we're talking about. That's not easy, bro. It's just not easy. And you're always hard on yourself, but it's always fantastic. Just to let you know. But yeah, I'm with you. But you have to promise me that you don't stop thinking about poems and calling in and reading them to us, please. Please. You got to promise me that.
I promise you that I probably will not stop writing poems. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Regardless, love you guys, man. Great show. Awesome callers. Just all the best people. And you guys have a great night. All right.
Appreciate the call. You as well. Sleep well, be well, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Toodles.
Gotta wait for the toodles. That's a Theo in Philly. The official poet, plural, of Troubled Minds. And yeah, he's right though. He's right. Like, these titles are, all over the place. And the reason I do that is because, not to put you on the spot, but to turn this into, sort of a conglomerate aspect of ideas and people. And yeah, you do a thing, and you're the official something or other. And Eric, by the way, shout out Eric in the chat over on the Discord a couple nights ago. He asked if he could be the official something of Troubled Minds, and I declined. No, I'm sorry, you can't be the official of that of Troubled Minds. Nice try, though. Nice try. You cannot be that. We're not going to say that word on Troubled Minds. Yes, there you go. Charlton Smithy. Theo is the OG. Exactly right. And if you want to know what I'm talking about, it's not a cryptic thing. Come join the Discord. This is not an in-group. Sorry, it's not an out-group. It's an in-group. Come join us. Come hang out. Come see what we talk about sort of offline and different non-show nights or Friday night or Saturday night or something. There's some people that come hang out and they're amazing as you would expect, and just all manner of conversation, wild and varied. And you would never believe it, but I shut my mouth for minutes and sometimes hours at a time. You'd never believe it, but it's true. It's totally true. It is the truth. Sometimes I don't, but a lot of times I can. Anyway, so love to hear your thoughts. We're talking again. So the topic of the show tonight, the future's shadow, I'm calling this, hiding classified technology. Shout out Matco. He had to dip. Thank you. He sent a nice message and said, you guys are all great. Appreciate the time. And we appreciate you. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show just like this. Let's go to Derek the Night Stalker. Let me find the song. There it is.
Yep.
What's up, Derek? How you doing, brother?
Going on, Bruder.
Thanks for being patient and hopping in here. And again, shout out to MJ. Oh, MJ's back on the line. Okay. How do you want to do this?
You can first for one.
Okay. Hang tight. Okay. I feel bad after playing the music. But MJ, I cut MJ off too. Okay, so let's go MJ in Virginia. Sorry about that, and we'll go along to get Derek in as well.
Like when Hulk Hogan comes down because Engine's music plays, he's halfway down the ramp. He goes, "Oh, actually, wait, I'll come back in 10 minutes."
Exactly. Like get out of here, get out of here. We'll get you back in 10 minutes.
No problem.
All right, appreciate that. Appreciate that. MJ in Virginia. I promise you that was a technical error that was not my fault. I pressed the thing and literally a new error popped up and it dropped you from the thing. Welcome to the joint. How you doing, brother? Go right ahead.
I'm doing good. You were talking about hidden technology, and then you mentioned math, that AI would be doing all this math, or they'll be classifying it. So it's classified math that you can't get to. And the woman that takes me to the food banks used to be a teacher, and part of it was math, and she quit because of what they're doing to the students in the schools. They're not really teaching them anything in particular. She showed me some of the homework for math that they had to do, and it was nothing but letters. That's all it was. And then let's say it had one number in the equation, the rest of it was letters. So you have to figure out what the letters are, the value of the letters. And it's like you look at it like you need more letters than that. Y is not always going to be a 1. X is not going to be a 1 type of thing. So she said she got out of teaching specifically because they were just teaching them crap. They're not teaching them anything. And that's why the skills, reading skills, math skills are going downhill in this country because they're not teaching them anything in particular. They don't want to know that. The blackboards that have like 50 feet of math equation and the guy's sitting there for 10 years working on it, that's going to be AI's job to finish it up in 30 seconds. So that's the math they're talking about to figure out quantum leaps and all these other things. That's the math AI will have. That's why it's going to be restricted, because it takes humans too long to figure it out. You see. And that's part of what they're talking about.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, especially, we're talking about math, like next level mathematics, because whatever this looks like in 5 years, like I keep saying, 5 years is probably kind of the ish target mark for me, is nobody knows what this looks like. And as all this starts to adopt and sort of AGI comes online, or even artificial super intelligence, I think mathematics as we know it might turn into something, very, very glyph and very fractal, universal type weird stuff. Like who knows what's really coming, but I feel you there on that aspect of it. And I think, so what's it called? Does anybody know what that's called? Like the new math they're teaching kids in school these days, where it's not the old ways. It's like this weird, like letters and stuff. And Common Core, right? Yeah. That's it. Common Core is the name of it. Yeah. And so I saw some of that and I couldn't make heads or tails of it. I looked at it. I was like, what the hell is this? And again, like for me to sit down, I of course, I'm a smart guy. I could figure it out, but it didn't seem like math to me at all. Like you're describing, it seemed almost like hieroglyphics and letters and stuff. It's like, what the hell is going on? This is so strange.
Well, that's exactly the point. The Y has to represent something within within an area always, and the X has to always represent in an area. The number 3 might define those two out there, define what they're going to do. You got to find that in there. But it just doesn't, she has the oldest daughter, I guess and I love this part, they had this Korean woman teaching math who could barely speak English, enough to teach the math, and she was doing really good with it. And since I guess she got deported because she was illegally here, then they had somebody else in there who wasn't doing anything. She doesn't teach. She sits in the classroom and here's your problem, hand it in, doesn't teach them anything, and her math skills are going way downhill again. So what they think they're planning on, which is going to be a massive mistake, is AI is supposed to take over all this stuff, and somewhere along the line, they're going to start teaching practicality again, teaching people how to do this stuff, because it's going to get lost, and people are just going to be stupid. They're going to be walking around like little zombies. So they don't have to worry about that. Maybe you look at your watch and you have to figure out, I have to be there at 3 o'clock, it's 1 o'clock. How many minutes is that? That's going to be your math. And that's partially what they're headed into. And I think it's going to be, the way I see it or feel it, I think it's just going to be a matter of, it's just a train wreck waiting to happen, because AI cannot survive without the human. You're going to have that. And even though AI is doing all the math, the human still has to know all the math, because they're going to implement the math into AI, and they've got to know whether AI got it or not. So somebody's got to be there. Your hackers with the computers, they have to know a lot of math, like C++ and all kinds of stuff, because it's ones and zeros, and those little syntaxes, they're actually numbers, or it's math going into the computer. And those are the people who are going to hang on to that type of activity, but they have to be studying that stuff all the time. So the way I see it is, somewhere along the line, somebody is still going to be doing that, but the average majority of people on the planet, everybody's being taught this. Maybe some countries aren't. Maybe they're still teaching their kids, this is what you're going to do. But after a while, it's like, it's gonna create a rift.
Yeah, 100%. There's a quote from Carl Sagan that comes to mind. It goes exactly like this: "We live in a society exquisitely dependent on science and technology, in which hardly anyone knows anything about science and technology." And it's accelerating. Yeah. This is accelerating, and it's he saw this years ago. And this is becoming the problematic part. And we've talked about AI systems and how they corrupting our brains and, turning us into all manner of things because we're easily influenced. And I've said this in the past, we are the influencers, but we are also the influenced. It does go both ways. And so this is always a balancing act, and what tomorrow brings, who knows? But yeah, you're spot on about all this stuff. And, yeah, you're a Carl Sagan Jr. or whatever. Like you're locked in.
Well, it's like people, you go to a mechanic now, they got to put it on the computer. What if the computer reads it wrong and you have to pay an extra $1,100 for something that wasn't needed? If I took my van right now to a Chevy dealer, they have to leave it on the computer for 12 hours to go through all whatever it's got to go through, and then they'll know what to fix on it, which is pretty much everything. I know that. But when you look at it, it's going to that. Your mechanics can't even think. I had a tire. It was tubeless, and the air was coming out the stem. I'm in the garage where I bought it, staring at these 3 idiots. They're looking at it, rolling the tire around, and I'm watching. I look down, like, oh, the air's coming out right at the stem. And I waited for them to, pick up on it, and they didn't. And I just blurted out what I just said. I said, "Can you all look at the stem?" Oh, there it is. 3 men, grown men looking. It's right out in the open. It's not hidden. They couldn't do that. It's getting to the point where they're, people in their minds are waiting for the technology to take over and tell them what to do. They just, I was so floored.
Not only that, these are supposed car people. Come on now. Stop it. Well, let's see what the computer says. Shout out Kelly if he's out there still listening. We talked about this when we were together. He brought his car into a shop, and they did some stuff, and then they didn't even do what they were supposed to do. So he drove down the road and was realized, and then he just did it himself. He's like, okay, these are car people that didn't recognize some obvious stuff. Yeah, crazy. Go ahead.
Well, if it were paid off in a piece of junk, I would have driven it right through their freaking doors. Now can you fix it? And bye.
Easy, buddy. In Minecraft, he didn't really mean that, guys. He's not a violent guy. Stop it, man. You're going to get me in trouble.
Really? Okay.
You're going to get me in trouble.
Thanks. You're talking about hidden technology, and the technology is not so hidden. It's just we're begrudgingly don't like the technology that's being pushed on us. Every time you turn around, there's something new. Something's going on. It's like, I got to figure it out. And people are getting tired of trying to figure it out. And that's part of some of the technology. And we've talked about this before, but I've seen our own United States jets using anti-gravity technology. And they were our jets, and they came out of the west side of Phoenix at the Air Force there. I know where they came from. And they came from there, and I've also seen a Stargate in use. It's not what you would think it would be. Maybe they have several different kinds, but it's all one in use. So the technology's there, but I think part of it is you have to recognize it for what it really is. Once you start doing that, I did that, and unfortunately, you get to the point where you're just disappointed because these new cars are putting out. They're not running right. They're 4-liter, 5-liter, 3-liter, or a three-cylinder, not liter. All this stuff's going on, and they're trying to do all these things with the cars to make them more efficient and less pollution, and it's like it's killing the car because of the stuff they're doing with the the pollution stuff they're putting on there. It's not necessary. We're way advanced from other countries on the planet. We already have all that, but they're just making it worse. So somewhere along the line, it's gonna bite again. It's just gonna come down and bite because they don't have anything to hold it up. There's no theory behind it. There's nothing behind it. It's just there. It's like the electric car now. People are just backing off from them because they're too hard to maintain, and they're cheaply made. If you get T-boned in one of those things, you're gone. They're because they have to have them so light with the materials and the insulation of it. You're in a go-kart. You have a Mach 5 Mustang. Yay! Beautiful looking car. It's electric. You get T-boned. Good luck. They have to keep it light to get that 250-mile charge out there, 300-mile charge. They're going to build them, as light as they can.
Yeah, and real quick, you're old enough to remember, like me, when you had one of those old, sedans from like a 1973 or something, they could probably get in 3 or 4 fender benders and not even show a dent. Like that's how solidly that stuff was built. So if you hit one of those old cars and one of those new cars, good game. It's going to launch you to the moon. Yeah, just be careful out there.
I had a Plymouth Boy, 1956, and that thing was a freaking tank. Even if you hit it, the cars these days, if they hit that car, they'll just splinter, and you won't see a scratch on the car. I had it for like 3 years. It was a freaking tank. You could just smooth and drive along, and somebody's, hit your front bumper, and the bumper didn't move, and their car was just splintered all over the road. That actually happened.
And it's getting worse and worse. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. MJ, you're the best. Again, I apologize. Look, I own my mistakes, and I did not accidentally hang up on you. There was some bizarre error I've never seen in my life. You're bad luck tonight, but I'm glad we got you back. Thanks for calling back. Thanks for being patient. Always a pleasure, my man, and have a great night. Appreciate the call.
All right, bye-bye.
Take care. MJ Virginia, you know him, you love him, good friend for a long time, and always brilliant with the ideas. And I'm glad we got the cars because it's true. Stuff is true. Let's go to back to Derek. Let's get the Robert in here as well. He's got his hand up. So we'll go to Derek at the Night Stalker. Yeah.
Yep.
Sometimes you got to play the intro music twice. That's how good you are. Welcome to the joint. I'm gonna get Robert in here too. So hang tight, Robert, and we'll work into the conversation. We'll go a little bit late, get you guys in. But go ahead, Derek. You've been waiting a long time as well. What is on your mind tonight regarding technology and all the weirdness?
I don't have too much. We had a night crew meeting for the first like hour and a half of the show, so I missed a good chunk of it. But I came in and that's kind of got me thinking. And I'm all kind of full of Chinese food right now, so I'm feeling a little sluggish. I need the call to pick me back up a little bit.
Nice.
Great stuff from everybody. And first, like I have a memory as far as like hidden tech that we might have seen before. I have a memory of it was no older than 5, and I'm driving in the back seat of my mom's car on the highway, and I look up and I see a 16-wheel, 18-wheeler, whatever, with no driver in it. Like, again, I'm 5, so I'm not sure if this memory, and our memory is very valuable, but I definitely remember this happened. And I go to my mom, there's no driver in that truck. Like we passed them or whatever. Mom, there's no driver in that truck. And this is like 1994, 1995. She's like, oh no, they have that. They have the self-driving trucks, I think, or I'm not sure if you use that term. She's like, oh no, they have that. They have that. And I kind of just shrugged and like, okay. And then now we're actually coming out with self-driving trucks. So I'm thinking like, is that just a dumb memory? Like, did I just like, was I too low in the seat and I didn't see there's a really, really short driver who somehow I didn't see, but I vividly remember like there's no driver there. And then I don't know. I feel like I just wanted to bring that up. That's a memory that I wonder what I saw.
Little time travel, Derek time travel back in the day.
Yeah.
Seeing like the self-driving Tesla trucks on the road.
Maybe. Yeah. But like, and I'm of a few minds with this, like as far as what technology, and like, I definitely think it makes sense as far as, like economically, they're going to want to like, if you don't want to release all this free energy technology, if you're relying on gas and that type of stuff, I get that. Or pharmaceutically, you're profiting so much off different ailments, you're not necessarily going to cure everybody. I see those motivations and stuff. And in my own kind of mind, I'm thinking like, I've been saying for years and years that they're going to have some kind of CGI actor or actress that they're going to establish in movies like America's Sweetheart, kind of like a Jennifer Lawrence style, everyone kind of loves. And then they're going to eventually reveal that that person was CGI or is not actually a person at all. And then there was when Angelina Jolie was in the Snow White Maleficent movie, and it kind of has this weird uncanny valley thing, and I'm like, why would she do this movie? I'm like, there's no way she's actually. This was like 4 or 5 years ago. I'm like, there's no way she's doing this movie. Did she just sign her likeness away? And are they just kind of like using her likeness to sell this movie? Like she has the star of the movie, but she's not actually there. They just kind of scanned her, and now they're going to present it this weird uncanny valley version of her. And if they can do it with Angelina Jolie, they can definitely do it with some person they create, some just like made up thing using the best features that everyone likes throughout history and stuff. And there was a scene in Entourage back in like 2002-ish, 2005 at the most, where they're filming James Cameron's Aquaman, and they're like behind the Vinny Chase's manager is like, wow, the technology is pretty crazy. The CGI is pretty crazy. This is where we're gonna make them like underwater and stuff. We're gonna fill the screen with this and this. And the manager's like, pretty soon, we won't even need actors. And James Cameron looks at him, pretty soon we won't. He said, like seriously, like they're gonna replace actors with CGI. And he goes, oh, I'm just kidding. But that idea was made a joke in 2002, and then I'm just wondering if we have AI influences now. Like in my mind, it could be something like that, kind of like wielding influence with these weird kind of pockets of technology they have. But at the same token, AI or CGI is getting way worse. There's all those memes of like Davy Jones from the Pirates movie or the first Iron Man suit, and a bunch of CGI from like 2008 to 2010 looking great, and then CGI now looking like garbage. And the argument within the industry is, well, back then it was much rarer. The movies that were being made using CGI are rare, whereas now you have shows on the CW. Like every show is using some type of CGI technology that people are overworked, and that makes sense. I get that, but also kids now, like, we have AI making videos instantly. Kids can have like the amount of technology, CGI technology that's in our pockets now versus what it was in 2008 is wildly huge. So like obviously the amount of work needed to be done has increased, but the technology should have increased with it. And then are they holding back some type of like technology in order to like maintain an industry or maintain like profits? Like, oh no, this is so hard, we're still gonna charge you guys like $20 million to do this project, when in reality they have something that's much easier to do that kind of everyone's using. So I don't know, and I feel sometimes in different conversations, like in a UFO conversation, people go, oh yeah, they're like 50 years ahead, they have all kind of crazy stuff. And then when we get into more of a political conversation or more of a down-to-earth topic, and it's like, it benefits whoever they're kind of defending in the topic to us to be kind of completely outmatched or outwitted by another human. I'm just like, well, like last week you were talking about, comes with a lot of conspiracy shows that do like nightly shows. And well, last week you were talking about how like this guy's a time traveler, or how they have lasers that are shooting stuff up, like creating fires everywhere and stuff. But now all of a sudden they're completely oblivious with this, and this. Like, which one is it? You know? But then they show, and then you look around and kind of everything is crumbling. The infrastructure is bad. Everything kind of breaks really easily. Nobody really kind of like the NASA example of we don't know how to replicate the technology. Just that the idea of that kind of put into every part of culture, seemingly like my dad was able to build a whole like log cabin. I remember vividly in like one weekend with like 2 of his friends. And now it seems like I drive on the side of the road and every construction crew is like, everything takes so slow. Everything, I don't know. There seems to be some type of like stagnation. But then also I'm online and there's those videos that show like the microchips zoomed in with the microscope. And like, is this fallen angel technology? And you zoom in and it's like, whoa, it's so complex. And then they zoom in again and it's still really complex. And they zoom in again and they keep going. Like, how did anybody build this? Like, this is really, it does seem like a godlike technology. What's the deal? You know, I'm rambling, but just like, I'm of multiple minds. It's like,
yeah,
what do they have and what do they don't? You know?
Yeah, I've said
Derek.
the same thing. Go ahead.
Going on, brother?
Go ahead. What's up, Robert?
Hey, Derek, have you seen that commercial with where Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre meet Frank Sinatra and Sammy Davis?
No. What happened?
Oh, it's a commercial. It's been on. Matter of fact, I think it was on during the World Series. The Super Bowl, and they did it with AI. Yeah, and you look at it, and you could swear you can't even tell the difference. That's like Frank Sinatra and that's Sammy Davis Jr. that Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre walk up and talk to.
And I mean, that's a technology. So that's a clear example of something that we're dealing with because it's going to have an economic impact on a whole industry. And basically, the whole Hollywood writer strike was about now you have chatbots that can replace them pretty easily. Half the country's complaining about how Hollywood writers are creating garbage the last 15 years anyways. So why can't we replace them? That type of thing. People are getting in trouble. Like the Secret Invasion Marvel show from a couple of years ago got in trouble because they made an AI intro and stuff. So now when they come up with a deal, they're basically like, okay, we're not going to use AI. We're going to use we're just going to restrict it. We have the technology, but it's going to put people out of work. We don't know how to handle it. We're just not going to use it. And now people like James Cameron just said recently, like hopefully we can try to incorporate these things to make it easier. He was talking about the CGI problem and stuff. And like the goal isn't to replace VFX workers. It's to make their job easier by incorporating this AI technology and stuff. So we know that we have technology that will replace workers and we're not using it. How much is that? Is that the same thing with we know we have technology that replace gasoline? We know we have technology. Yeah, good.
I just put a link to that commercial on the YouTube chat. All right, if you want to take a look at that commercial, tell you to knock your socks off.
It's weird. Like, do we have the technology that could kind of replace the workers, that could kind of create more leisure time? The way, if you go to like look at the old World Fair ads and stuff, the promise of this technology is to create more leisure time. But it seemingly, I saw a meme being like, we pay more in taxes than like slaves did back in ancient Egypt or something like that. Like we have to give like more percentage in taxes. We work more hours than indentured servants did in the medieval days or whatever and stuff. And it's just like we seemingly have this technology, but it's not really benefiting us. And then there's the other meme being like half the jobs out there are not necessary. That people are kind of just floating around, kind of doing busy work. And I see that's how a whole industry of like people on Facebook or in social media while they're working and stuff. Like your job can be replaced, but we're not replacing it. So how much of this that's tangible are they just waiting to roll out just for what they think they believe is the benefit of society? And then
look at Time Machine. Look at Time Machine, right? At the very end of when it goes all the way into the future and nobody has to work. All right, in that future, look what happens. People don't know how to defend themselves, or they wind up walking into a cave to the Morlocks.
Morlocks,
right?
Yep.
Yeah,
but that I would argue that's because you have a small elite group that's kind of hoarding the technology. You have one group that's allowed to evolve and they almost become like telepathic, or whatever. Their minds are evolved to a point where they're a different species, and then the rest of everyone else is kind of left to kind of go back to tribalism and stuff. So is that what we're dealing with? Where we have a breakaway civilization that has a tier of technology that they're just not sharing because it'll throw off the flow of the world right now. It might put people out of work. It might, like, I don't know. And then this to get more sinister, just the ones that they're intentionally doing it just because by holding it, they can get, I don't know, like, I don't want to get an old Musk conversation per se, but the detractors to him, and I'm not sure if this is true or not, would say that he's not necessarily like inventing the stuff. He's kind of just a person who's like buying companies and kind of like presenting it to people. So and he's the richest person in the world who has a foot in government. He's gonna roll out the AI. He's gonna roll out space travel and stuff. Just imagine the scenario where you have technology. You're an elite global cabal of people with super advanced technology. You're able to, like, the same way the Watchers or the aliens came down to bestow technology on civilizations. You're able to bestow these things to people and prop them up as the next Tony Stark, and as you can roll things out the way you want to roll them out, or you can wield a lot of power by giving these things, by gifting these type of technologies the same way we talk about aliens trying to gift it and stuff. So, like, I wonder if there's an element of that where like a lot of their power lies in how they develop this technology and stuff. I'm talking too much. What do you got, Robert? I'm sorry.
Every generation has its Tesla.
Yeah.
Hopefully. I mean, but it's just like, it's now the corporate infrastructure so advanced that they have a Tesla in some workshop somewhere, and they're milking him for his inventions, and then they're giving it to their Wizard of Oz version of Tesla that they want us all to think is Tesla. But in reality, he's a poster child for the New World Order or the technocracy or yada yada yada. That they're able to wield global influence by dripping out stuff technology wise.
Yeah,
sorry,
you're good. Real quick, also with that, like, I've made this joke before, but it's like, okay, so where's our flying cars? This is ridiculous. But then also, I live in Vegas, as you guys know. You go into these casinos. I live in like the cathedral of bathrooms. There's like a massive, amazing, 30 urinal bathroom everywhere you look. Okay.
Yeah.
And still, none of the look. I've pissed in half of them. Okay, pardon my French. And I'm yet to find a dripless urinal. You know what I mean? So it's like, the two things exist at the same time. Where the hell's our flying cars? All this technology, but then also, I wear shorts and pissing on my legs is not the best. Okay, stop it. Yeah. Can we fix like some of the basic things here? I mean, for crying out loud, and not to be gross, but I mean, stop it. Like, what is really going on? Because it feels as if we are being dragged along with these narratives that are not real. So which is it? Exactly. Do we have advanced technologies, or are we going to piss on our legs in Vegas because we wear shorts? Would you stop?
Exactly.
It's ridiculous. This is ridiculous, and I don't know where that truth kind of comes together. It's horrific. It's horrific, exactly. And we're just sort of victims of it.
I'll just make 2 quick points, and then I'll basically take off and let Robert up and finish it up or whatever.
Go ahead.
Is that okay? First, with that, it's like the "Where's my flying car?" I've been saying for at least a decade. We're not living in the future until I can light a spliff up with my iPhone. Like, there seems like there's some things that could be pretty beneficial. But like, I do worry about like dream advertisements and stuff, like them telling us that they might potentially roll out dream ads, that they have weird kind of psychic technologies, like psychological technologies, that it might be a little deeper into just the algorithm kind of predicting your things when we get the kind of mind reading aspect of the newsfeed type of deal. And that, like, when they kind of made illegal the classic Paladin and Fight Club style subliminal messaging, if they can kind of if they knew that there was another type of that they can get away with more easily. And with the dream type of stuff, it's like, I wonder if they just know that you don't have to put a Thurs logo in your dream to sell ads. You can like show. What if you just show like a yellow square, a purple triangle, a black cube, or I'm using bad examples, but just weird colors and shapes that they've mapped and figured out, and they can hit us with them the way they're typing on a keyboard so easily, and they've assigned and we don't know the meaning of it. We're walking by stop signs, we're walking by posters that have completely different meanings, but they know that a combination of 6 or 7 of these different symbols is the same as like typing in a cheat code on your PlayStation controller, and it's going to make us want something. It's going to make us think something and stuff. Like they're incepting ideas into us in a way that we don't know yet. And as Hollywood's kind of falling apart, I'm a little more nervous sometimes watching creepy stuff on the TV, because I'm worried if they're like more desperate now for attention and they're going to try more weird subliminal stuff that they might not have done when they're like the top of the world type of deal. And then just like lastly, the kind of among some of my friends, they've been saying for years that like the technology, like the futurism ads and these moto ads, when they're talking about some scientist at this college has made some kind of crazy futuristic convention that is more of a grift, A, for like funding, B, just to perpetuate the myth that there's that 50 years in advance. That like, and we were talking the other day, I wonder if kind of the idea of a global elite controlling us gives them control in and of itself. I wonder if there's a manifestation aspect to technology where we maybe we have kind of hit a plateau, and that it is mind blowing that the Wright brothers took hands with the first man on the moon. Like that is mind boggling. Or that I knew my great grandmother who had a ticket on the Titanic. That our previous generations did see a wild jump in technology, but seemingly in my 35-year-old life, I've seen things kind of regress. And the only thing that's gotten different or better is like digital technology. And that there's a wall, and there's like a metaphysical aspect to technology, where if kind of a fake it till you manifest it, where if they can kind of convince us that they're so far ahead, or they're creating all these things, wild things in a lab, that's kind of the secret sauce that the lab needs. Like you can only get so far if you're tinkering away in a lab, with all the resources. You need that extra special, like the extra like fairy dust of getting the people outside the lab to think that you're gonna get what you're gonna accomplish what you want in the lab. So 2018, 2019, you have huge swaths, especially in the conspiracy world, being like AI is garbage. AI is nothing. AI is never going to do what they're telling you it's going to do. And those people in the past couple of years have kind of gone 180. And it's pretty apparent to us that AI is like massively wild, and it's only going to get more wild. I wonder if that's because they rolled out kind of the user AIs, and they impressed people for like a year and a half, being like, whoa, AI is a little farther ahead than I thought. Oh, then 6 months later, whoa, we just cracked, like Willow's cracking quantum computing. Like we're on the cusp. We're hitting it. Like now we're really cooking with gas type of thing. That like, I'm rambling, but does that make sense? That they need to like, part of the whole, they're 50 years ahead. Part of they have this, and this. They're making stuff that we can understand because they want us to think that, so that they can try to get this new technology.
Yeah, but there's a problem. There's a problem that's coming up with AI, and that's AI has suddenly become susceptible to hallucinating.
That's all it does. That's all. Okay, just a real quick primer to the people who don't understand AI. It hallucinates 100% of the time. 80% of the time, it's right. Okay, it's always hallucinating. Trust me. It's always hallucinating.
Yeah. There's that. And that's if we have more time, that's where we're kind of going to go with it. But just the kind of the conjuring aspect of technology. There's always kind of a weird trance-like aspect, or in ancient mythology, that we were gifted from the gods. We were bestowed upon this. We had some type of like shamanic experience that like we don't even know how we figured this out, but it was given to us, or something like that. That, and like the Roswell part, like the biggest technology jump that we kind of talk about is from 47, and is that because of Roswell? And then they talk about the gifting aspect, the result of ritual aspect. And then around the time of Epstein's death, because he was in all the transhumanism conspiracies and stuff, there was aspects of there was belief that his death was kind of a modern day ritual sacrifice, looking for this next jump in technology. And from my perspective, since then, wow, like I'm way more impressed with all this, with the AI stuff, than I was like immediately before he died. So did they receive it? Like, and then it just, is there kind of a you were talking the solve for why, like or MJ was talking about the solve for why kind of aspect of math. And it's, I wonder if that in this case is the belief of it. Like the 4-minute mile, people thought it was impossible. That was a human technology that we were never going to be able to crack. So a human being able to go over 4-minute mile or quicker than a 4-minute mile, and then somebody does it, and all of a sudden the belief that it was possible made it commonplace for the elites of running. So like, is there perpetual telling us how far ahead we are, or the belief that they've instilled within the conspiracy world, especially, that they're so much more advanced than we could possibly imagine when we look around, and it seems like it's a bunch of bumbling idiots who kind of don't know which way to go. Is that because they need that in order to manifest this weird metaphysical nature of technology? I'm rambling. I gotta go. I'm sorry for making that so much longer than it needed to be. But
you're good.
Great stuff, you guys.
You're good. Appreciate you. Thanks for being flexible and all the rest. The Derek the Night Stalker. You know me, love it. Links in the description. TroubledMinds.org/friends. The Robert, take us out of here.
I'd like to take us out of there with a poem by the Robert.
I'd love to hear it.
It's called Astral Voyeur. Body at rest, eyes lightly closed. A white screen springs from a cone. A face from the past was whom he chose whenever his soul felt alone. Warmth coursed from feet to thighs, swirled at abdomen before moving to chest, loosening vibration before the soul did rise from the body, no longer its guest. Near the ceiling came the roll, when seeing the death-like container, that heavy, dense thing that had harbored the soul that must return to sooner, if not too much later. Then at the speed of thought, stood in a foyer, just beyond she first loved, surfing the net, unaware of the invisible voyeur, who blinked into her living room near where she sat. 35 years older, no longer as pretty, yet still possessed the twin soul that made both one, and on a short stack of mail was an address and city, but a search for phone number found none. Oh, on the sofa he sat beside her, chilled. She buttoned her sweater, side by side as once they were, upon a time when love was new and better. Then into the room walked a tall, balding man, who rudely sat on and through the soul. He dared to kiss the bedazzled woman, a kiss she returned, long and full. The heartbroken soul followed them up the stairs. Inside a bedroom, she closed the door, leaving the soul out in the hall, alone with his tears, until dragged back to his body once more. The end.
Robert, you're getting dark, brother. I love it. Also, Theo says, the Robert, also the official poet of Troubled Minds. Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for staying up.
Good night, Michael.
Have a great night. Always a pleasure, and take care. We'll talk to you soon. The Robert, you know me, love him. Again, links in the description, troubledminds.org/friends. That's how we do it. Making friends all over the world and talking about wild ideas by dark of night. It's really been our way forever. And yeah, what a talented guy, hey? And by the way, you can go find his book, and he's working on more, as you can tell, at troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll on down because it's alphabetical to, I think it's the Robert. Yes, it is. Down there at the bottom. Click on that. You'll find his book. Again, full disclosure, he sent me a couple copies. I did read it. He doesn't pay me to say that it's good, but it is good. He's a talented man, as you can tell. Please check it out. It's called Stories from a Fractured Mind, the Robert Collection. I promise you, I read it cover to cover, and it's very good. And his poetry is also very good. One more time, troubledminds.org/friends. The Robert, while you're down there, follow The Night Stalker. It's actually N Night Stalker. Let me know, Derek, if you want it The Night Stalker or N. We could change it and swap you around alphabetically, whatever. Anyway, the whole point of this is to make friends. The whole point of this is to talk about ideas that are outside of the mainstream. And we've made a lot of those. And we're blessed. Our cup runneth over with amazing people with amazing ideas. And if you're not following all of these people, you're hurting my feelings. Please, all the time and effort that goes into this, look on my part. I'm not crying like a baby. I'm not the tears. I love being here and I love talking to you guys. But I'm saying, for all the blood, sweat, and tears to grind for, 2 years with nobody listening. It was just it was Kelly, it was Fred, and it was Joe in Florida for like 2 years. So for all of that grind to get us here, please, for my sake, please follow our friends. Like I said, 95% of that stuff down there is free, and if you haven't spent a little bit of time creating accounts where you don't have them, or following these amazing people in all the places, please do that. It makes a difference, and we can help it support each other in all the ways. And like I said, it's free. That's free. There are some people down there selling some books. Please check that out too. If you want to spend some scratch and help the show, don't spend it on me first. Go spend it on our fine friends selling books and selling music and doing all the things. And then if you're feeling generous as well, then spend it on me and troubledminds.org/support, or click the support button on top. But the most important way to help Troubled Minds, if you want to help, is to spread the word. Let people know a conversation is happening where we will not talk about politics directly like everybody else does. And we're different. Even recognized sort of outside the UFO groups and all this stuff, the consciousness groups. And you can't even really quantify us and define us because there's so many things happening. There's like the AI groups, there's the UFO groups, there's the consciousness groups. We do it all. We do it all. You know why? Because there's so many important things to consider and talk about in the accelerating future. That's that. Please help us. Spread the word. Let people know. Old school word of mouth beats the algorithms every day. As we finish, it goes exactly like this. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night.